So hey guys, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. So as you seen in the thumbnail today we are gonna see what if Naruto and Erza Scarlet were cute couples. So watch this video till the end, also like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now let's move on to Naruto. Namikaze slowly opened his eyes and saw nothing but white so bright it could have blinded him. Where am I? He spoke hoarsely. Slowly he pushed himself up until he was standing, albeit very wobbly. He looked down to see himself wearing his shinobi uniform, which was covered in tears, blood and dirt. As he brought his head up, he remembered everything that had just occurred. After 3 years of mayhem, Naruto had finally brought down the darkness and ended the loathing that was the Fourth Shinobi World War. First he conquered Sasuke, his once best friend and forever rival. After periods of fighting back and forth between the two rivals, Naruto finally landed the final strike onto Sasuke and sent him off into the afterlife, where now he could finally rejoin the family he once lost, despite knowing he couldn't save his friend and the man he called his rival and brother. He was happy knowing that now no one else could be hurt by Sasuke's fixation with revenge, and that he was now once again with his family. At the end of the conflict, together with Kurama, the nine-tailed fox, the two combined their power, and finally after 3 long years of war, the two finally defeated Madara Uchiha and ended his long reign of tyranny, even though it came at the cost of his own life, knowing that the people he cared about were now safe, and with the newly found Shinobi alliance in place, an era of reconciliation could finally take over. Hello, Naruto called out, hoping to get an answer, but no one replied back. Where am I? He contemplated. Am I lifeless? Yes you are, said a voice said behind him. He quickly turned and looked behind him to see a gorgeous woman with long raven black hair, rich pink eyes, and had creamy colored skin. She was robed in what looked like a white traditional kimono. The female looked at him with a warm smile before speaking. I have always wanted to meet you, Naruto Namikaze. You have always been spoken of very highly, and I wanted to see for myself what the hero of Shinobi was like, she said. Who are you? He asked with tranquility. And where am I? Well, for your second question, you are in a dominion known as Purgatory. You're here because quite simply you're dead, like I said a second ago. If I'm dead, then why am I not like in heaven? Did I do something wrong? No, not at all. You have done nothing wrong. In fact, there is a very extraordinary place in heaven just for you, because of all the good accomplishments you have done in your life. I will explain shortly, but to answer your first question from before, my name is Kami. Naruto's eyes widened and his jaw hit the floor. Why, you're Kami? You're the creator of everything. Kami chuckled at the expression on Naruto's face. Yes, pretty much. Don't have a problem with that, do you? She asked, raising her eyebrows. No, not at all. I never thought Kami would be such a sweetie, he spoke with honestly. Well, thank you, Naruto, she said. You're very cute. Most think him some kind of old man, she said, pouting. Naruto tittered before getting serious again. So why am I here in Purgatory then if I'm deceased? He asked. That will be explained very soon. However, first there are some people here that would like to see you. I'm sure you would be delighted to see them. Really, who? He asked before he felt his hand gets gripped from behind. Whoever it was had very smooth and gentle hands and was very warm, a kind of warm-heartedness Naruto had only experienced once. It was a kind of affection that he could never forget. He slowly turned around, and as soon as he saw who it was, tears came gushing out of his eyes and down his cheeks. Standing there in front of him was none other than his mother, Kushina Uzumaki. Mom, he whispered. Hello, precious, she said with a kind-hearted smile. It was an expression that only a mother could ever produce. The smile made Naruto's heart warm up. Mom, he said again as he now wrapped his arms around her. He held her so close and as tight as he could. He thought that if he let go she would vanish. SSSHH Naruto, it's okay, I'm here, she whispered into his ear. She slowly stroking his hair in a calming way only a mother could do. She made a swirl of peace and tranquility fall over him. Kami watched the exchange in front of her and smiled. Nothing could be any more beautiful than the reunion between mother and son. I've missed you so much, he said through his tears. And you, she said. I love you so much, my baby boy. Hearing his mom say she loved him made Naruto smile, the biggest smile he could muster. Not a fake smile like he used to wear when he was younger, but a true smile full of love and happiness. Now, she said, putting him at arm's length. Let me get a good look at you, she said merrily. She stared at Naruto for a good minute in silence. Oh, my baby is so fetching, she suddenly said, hugging her son again, earning a chuckle from both Naruto and Kami. Well, he is our son. Did you expect anything less, came a voice. Naruto looked over and saw his father Minato Namikaze standing there smiling proudly at him. Dad, Naruto said as ran over to his father and tackled him into a hug which knocked the two down onto the ground. This made everyone chuckle at the excited Naruto, as he now had his parents standing by his side. Standing up again, Minato looked at Naruto and saw how much he had grown. You've made me very proud, my son, Minato said, placing his hand on top of Naruto's head. I always knew you were destined for great things. You stayed true to your word, Naruto, and finally managed to bring about a world of harmony, something most thought could never be done. With the 5 great nations united, an era peace can finally begin, Minato said, speaking very proudly at the achievement that Naruto had made, the one accomplishment he wished he could have brought about himself. You've made all of us very proud, Naruto. It's hard to believe you are that little knucklehead who used to paint the Hokage monument in that horrid bright orange jumpsuit, Kushina said, beaming with pride at her son. Oh, don't knock the color orange, Naruto said with mock hurt, plus if I could escape a patrol of Anbu and Jonin in bright orange, then I must have been doing something right. Everyone just rolled their eyes, but had to admit escaping Anbu in orange was pretty damn impressive. Now Naruto, it's time for me to explain why you're here, Kami said, now approaching the group. Your parents both know of what I'm about to tell you, and they agree that it's for the best as it gives you a chance to have what you missed out on. Naruto looked inquisitively at her before nodding. Naruto, unlike most, you have had to go through things that no one should ever gone through. The sufferings that you have faced when you were a child and a teenager was so horrid, so monstrously cruel, that it took away your childhood and caused you many years of suffering. Although there are those that have suffered similar to you, none have had it to such a horrid degree than you have, she said with everyone nodding in agreement. Naruto even noticed that his mom and dad had tears going down their cheeks. The villagers turned their back on you for something that was out of your control. When humanity was born, I never imagined that civilization could be so cruel. Naruto didn't know what to say, but turned towards his parents. When he looked at the two of them again, the tears just continued to roll down their cheeks. Naruto, they both said, we are sorry for what you had to go through. You shouldn't have had to go through any of it. You never should have received the pain that we burdened you with. I was a fool to believe the village would accept you as a hero, Minato said, and because of my stupidity, it caused you great harm. We never wanted any of that to happen to you, sweetie. We had to watch everything that happened to you, and it tore us up. We damned you to a horrid life, Kushina said. But that's not your fault, Naruto argued back. If you hadn't, then I might not have done the things that I did. I might not have been able to save and change Gaara. Granny Tsunade may have never become the Hokage. The Akatsuki could have collected all of the tailed beasts, and the 5 great shinobi nations might not have become one. Ami sighed and walked up to Naruto and gently placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder, which gave her his attention. Naruto, we know you mean well, and yes, you may be right. If things didn't turn out as they did, then perhaps those certain events may not have played out. But that's an if. We can't find out what would have happened and can only speculate what could have happened. Naruto, despite not liking it, nodded, realizing that they had a fair point. He didn't deserve the treatment he had to go through, despite being the jailer of the Kyuubi. But he changed the people's opinion of him, didn't he? Didn't they finally accept him when he saved them from pain? Naruto, despite all that you have sacrificed, despite all that you have done, they all turned their back on you in the end. You even gave your life to save them and give them a world that could finally be peaceful. But still, despite it all, they just turned their back and walked away, Kami said. Kami then clicked her fingers and a huge oval-like screen covered the ground. Kami nodded for Naruto to walk forward and to look at what was being shown within the oval. He walked over and looked down to show a huge celebration happening in the lead village. Everyone looked happy and fireworks were going off and people were just having fun. Naruto looked over with a smile to where Kami and his parents were. They must be celebrating the end of the war, right? Naruto said. However, he began to frown when his parents looked away dejectedly and Kami bowing her head. Naruto turned his head back towards the oval screen. He didn't understand. If the villagers weren't celebrating the end of the war, then what the hell were they celebrating? It wasn't until he heard what the voices of the villagers were saying that it finally dawned on him. The Kyuubi brat is finally gone. Peace to Konoha at last. Never have to see that whiskered freak ever again. Good riddance. Now we don't have to worry about him influencing our children. A monster like him could never be the Hokage. Hearing those voices, tears were streaming down Naruto's face. How could they? After everything I have done for them, and this is how I am repaid, still being treated like a monster, even after I saved them more times than I want to count, he whispered. It wasn't until he saw a certain pink-haired Kunoichi and a group of his friends did the final nail getting placed on the coffin. Sakura was gathered around with some of the other Konoha rookies at the Akamichi BBQ restaurant. However, he did notice that Choji, Shikamaru and Lee were not present at the gathering. But that was probably due to them being with their families. With Naruto gone, maybe now we can live peacefully at last. The idiot always did have a way of getting us into trouble. Kiba spoke while shoving his mouth with food. At best he is gone, Tenten said, nodding. If he wasn't around, then the Akatsuki would never have attacked Konoha. That way Asuma sensei would still be alive. It is fault I lost my sensei, Ino shouted. I thought I loved him, Hinata spoke quietly. But in the end it wasn't real. I should have seen him for what he really was, a monster, she said while gripping Kiba's hand, which caused said boy to start grinning like an idiot. Has always been nothing but a nuisance. It's because he didn't have any parents, so he could learn what was right and what was wrong, as well as gain some manners. He promised he'd bring my Sasuke back, and he failed to do so, but instead he kills him. I hate him, Sakura spoke with venom, as the others nodded their heads in agreement. The vision then faded and the screen then faded away. Naruto stood there for a minute taking it all in, before his knees buckled and was on the floor gasping for air. The shock of those words caused him to have a panic attack. Seeing this, both Minato and Kushina ran over to him and enveloped him in a hug, while Kushina slowly rubbed his back. Breathe, sweetie, take slow deep breaths. Okay, Kushina spoke softly. Seeing her boy like this was tearing her up inside. She wanted to march right into that village and beat every single one of them to an inch of their life for the pain they have caused her son. Minato wasn't faring much better. How did I ever come to care for that miserable village was beyond him, he thought. Mom, Naruto whispered, drawing Kushina attention. Yes, sweetie, what is it? She asked while placing her palm on his cheek lovingly. It hurts, he said. Kushina had a look of confusion on her face before Naruto finished his sentence. My heart, it hurt so much. Hearing this, hearing her boy in so much pain broke Kushina. Tears flowed down her face, and she gripped her son tightly and stroked his hair soothingly. I know, baby, I know, you don't deserve this kind of treatment, you're sane compared to those fools. Another screen formed in front of them, causing Naruto to look away, not wanting to watch anymore. Do not turn away, Naruto, this is something you will want to see, Kami said, causing Naruto to slowly turn his head and look in the screen. What he saw made his eye widen slightly. Standing in a small clearing just outside the Leaf Village was Kakashi, Lee, Choji, Shikamaru, Neji, Tsunade, Shizune, Iruka, Am, Tucci, Gaara, Tamari, Kankuro, and the other cages. They were huddled in front of a small stone monuments that with the Leaf Village symbol and the symbols of the Uzumakas. It's weird that he actually gone, Choji said as stared at the monument standing next to Shikamaru and holding hands with Am, who was silently letting tear pool out from her eyes. It's not right, it should be in the village where everyone can see it. I thought those damn villagers had put those prejudices against him at rest already, she said in between sobs. I guess it was all fake, Tsunade said as she struggled to hold her tears as she stood with Shizune and the other cages standing behind her. But I don't understand how Sakura and the rest could treat his memory like this, she said, scowling at the thought. Shikamaru sighed. The past few days had been stressful on the young shinobi, and all the stress from the war had tired the man out. He looked older than his years. Sakura and the rest have greatly lost my respect. I'm surprised at Ino, he said, shaking his head. The way she has been speaking about Naruto makes me want to cut ties with her completely, he said, with Choji nodding in agreement. He may not be seen as a hero in this village, but will always be remembered and praised in the mist like the hero he was. Mei Terumi said as she placed a lily on the monument. As he will in the sand, Gaara said, biting a final farewell to the man he called brother. And the Cloud A muttered. As will the Rakanoki, said as the two placed the flowers down. His flames of youth will forever burn brightly, Lee said, with Guy muttering the same as the two placed their flowers on the monument. He created his own path and followed it all the way to the end, Neji said, doing the same as everyone else. Tamari then bent down on her knees, placed the flowers, and then kissed her hands and pressed them against the monument. Thank you for everything you have done for our world and for my family, she said. We'll see you again one day in the afterlife, Kankuro said. But not too soon, I hope, he said, smiling slightly. Goodbye, little brother, Iruka said, letting his tears flow freely as Am and Tucci did the same. See you later, my friend, Shikamaru said as he let a few loose tears flow. You were the best raiment buddy in the world, Choji said, smiling. Kakashi then walked forward and placed down Naruto now tattered lead headband. May you finally find peace in the afterlife, my greatest student, he said. The whole group bowed their heads and paid their respects to the world's greatest hero. The screen began to fade out as Naruto continued to let his emotions out while his parents still embraced him. There were some that cared, there were some that valued his life and saw him as their friend or family, and for him that was enough. As his mother and father comforted their son, Kami slowly walked over to where they were. When she was in front of Naruto, she got down on her knees and wrapped Naruto into a gentle hug. Naruto was skeptical at first and tensed a little, but after feeling how loving and warm feeling it was, he slowly embraced her. Naruto, listen to what I am about to tell you. I want you to remember it for the rest of your life. Of all the people that have been born into the world, no one has more heart than you. You are so full of love, care and forgiveness that it gives you a heart of gold. No one could ever come close to the sacrifices that you have had to make. You care for others, even those that don't care for you, and show forgiveness to those that don't deserve it. You are truly one in a billion, Naruto. You a true miracle child that no one could ever replace, and you deserve so much more than what was given. You have a great power within you, and I don't speak of the power given to you by the Kyuubi. I mean your own power. The power to change people and bring them to the light. This was a power that can't be rivaled or taken by anyone. You realize that's something that very few ever learn. That with great power comes great responsibility. Those fools back in Konoha don't know anything. All that you must remember that despite what those people think, there are people that truly care and love you. Your mother Kushina, your father Minato, your sensei and godfather Jiraiya, your sensei Kakashi, your godmother Tsunade, and your adopted grandfather, Hiruzen, friends and even your allies. It's these kinds of bonds that help shape you into the man we see before us and the man that we are all so proud of, the man that deserves to be called a hero. After Kami had finished talking, everything was silent. Naruto took a few deep breaths and finally began to calm down. He stared up at Kami, now with a small smile plastered on his face. "Thank you," he said while hugging Kami again. "You don't know how much that means to me to hear someone say that." "Naruto," Kami said, "I want to give you a chance that has never been offered before, and a chance that I will only ever offer to you this once." Naruto looked at her in confusion, not understanding what she meant. Minato and Kushina stood there calmly knowing what the offer was and were curious how Naruto would take it. "Naruto, I want to give you a second chance at life." Immediately Naruto's eyes widened and jaw dropped slightly. "I can have a second chance," he thought. "I want to give you a chance to have something you missed out on: love, friendship, respect, family. What you had in the elemental nations was false. However, I can take you to a different place, a new world, a world unlike the one you previously lived in." Naruto leaned in, curious about this new world that Kami spoke of. "This world is known as the magic world. Instead of shinobi they have mages, instead of chakra they have magic." "Whoa," Naruto exclaimed, "magic's real? As in the whole shooting pretty lights out your hands kind of magic?" The three adults chuckled at Naruto's take on magic. "Something like that," Kami said as she began to explain what magic really was. "Magic is somewhat similar to chakra, you see. Magic is the physical embodiment of the spirit. When the physical spirit of an organism connects with the spiritual flow of nature, the spirit forms magic as a product of the connection. Only 10% of the world's population is able to use magic, which is noted to keep a balance between ordinary people and those with magic. It takes an enormous amount of concentration and mental ability to use magic. Magic users can learn multiple styles of magic, but it is noteworthy that many users have natural affinities for their own magic style." Naruto nodded, now having a better understanding of what magic was. "So if I went to this world, I would be able to use magic?" he asked, which Kami replied with a nod. "Cool." But he said, "What about mom and dad?" He said, grabbing their hands. "I have just got them back, and if I go, then I'm going to lose them again." "Sweetheart," Kushina said, "you will never lose us, even though you won't be able to see us, hear or feel us. I and your father will always be watching over you, and you will always be in our hearts. We want you to be happy." Naruto Minato said, "If you came with us now to the afterlife, you will be missing out on so much: true friendship and the love of a family. You need to experience these things just like we and everyone else has. You need this, son. You need to take this chance." Naruto bit his lip and was about to speak up before being interrupted by his mother. "No buts, Naruto," she said, placing her hands on her hips. "You're doing this, we will see each other again one day. And when we do, we won't ever be separated again." She lifted her hand up and stuck her pinky finger out. Naruto hesitated before signing with a smile. He pulled up his pinky finger and locked it around his mother's. "Okay, I'll give it another chance." Both Kushina smiled, proudly happy with the decision that he just made. They both placed their hands on his shoulder before Naruto then turned to Kami. "I will go to this new world. Thank you for offering me a second chance at life," Naruto said, bowing slightly. "You're welcome, Naruto. Now before I send you, go and say your goodbyes to your parents," she said calmly. Naruto nodded and turned around and embraced both his parents into a family hug. Tears once again slowly made their way down all their cheeks, as recently reunite family would be apart for a little while longer. "Take good care of yourself, sweetheart. Remember to be polite around others, eat your vegetables and go to bed at a reasonable time," Kushina said, making both Naruto and Minato chuckle. "Make lots of friends that care about you and like you for who you are. Don't ever let anyone try to change you. I want you to meet a nice girl and fall in love." "Well," Naruto Minato said, "all I can say is good luck in your new life, and I know you will continue to make us both proud and listen to everything your motor mouth mother just told you," he said, which earned him an elbow in the ribs by Kushina. "Mom, Dad, thank you. I know I have said this before, but I'm going to say again, I'm so proud that I'm your son. I couldn't have asked for two better parents." Hearing this, both Minato and Kushina hugged their son one last time before fading away from sight once again, returning to their spots in heaven. However, before Kushina could completely go, she left Naruto with one last message. "By the way, Naruto, I want lots of grandbabies to spoil," she said, winking before completely fading away. When she said this, Naruto blushed furiously. That was the last thing he was expecting his mother to say to him. "Guess I have got no choice now," he said, chuckling. "Your mother is certainly an interesting woman. There are not many people like her," Kami said with a slight chuckle. "Yeah, she is one in a million," he said lovingly before getting back to topic. "Before I go, may I ask another question?" Kami nodded her head and listened to Naruto's question. "If I'm going to have magic, what kind of magic will I be able to use?" he asked. Well, you see, anyone with magic can learn any type of magic really," Kami said. "However, usually the first type of magic you learn will usually be your strongest form of magic and will be the one you use the most. Most mages only learn one type, however few do learn other types of magic just in case." "Okay," Naruto sighed, "so I'm going to have to find someone to teach me magic first." That's correct, but don't worry about it, I'm going to send you to a place where you can learn one of the strongest magics around, a very powerful lost magic which only a handful of people will use. This got Naruto excited. What is it? What's it called? His excitement made Kami chuckle. You will have to wait and see. Naruto frowned and grumbled something unintelligent before nodding his head in agreement. Step forward, Naruto, Kami said and placed a hand on his forehead. You're going to feel a little weird and black out, but when you wake up, you will be in the new world of Earthland. Naruto nodded, but quickly spoke up before Kami could proceed. Kami, if it's okay, could I make one small request? Kami lifted eyebrows in curiosity before nodding. The scars that cover my body, he said. I want to keep them, I don't want them to fade away. Kami looked somewhat in surprise by the odd request. May I ask why, Naruto? They help tell the story of my past. They are a part of me and everything that I have been through. They remind me of my failures. I want to keep them so that I can remind myself of who I am and what kind of life I have had to lead up to now. That way it will help motivate me in becoming stronger. Are you completely sure, Naruto? I am, he replied simply. Very well, she said, and once again placed her hand onto his forehead. For now, Naruto Namikaze, this is goodbye. I hope to see you again one day, but not too soon, I hope, she said, winking. Naruto smirked before everything felt like it was spinning. His body went numb and he felt like he was falling. Within seconds, Naruto blacked out before disappearing. Good luck, Naruto Namikaze, Kami said before she too fading away. Naruto slowly opened his eye to see himself standing in front of a cave with weird gems glowing yellow. As Naruto tried to move, he felt something inside his chest. When he looked at his chest, he saw the same glowing gem poking out from the center of his chest. What the hell is all, Naruto cold say before he caught a reflection in the lake beside him. What the hell, I'm freaking 6 years old, what the hell, Kami? Yelled Naruto before he heard a roar. Please tell me that was my stomach, said Naruto. He slowly turns around to find himself face to face with a dragon. The dragon was about 10 feet tall, with the same glowing gem as a horn. Its scales was a cloudy gray with what looked like lightning bolts marking on each scales. The dragon's golden eyes looked at the small child with a glowing gem that shone so bright within him. Human, what are you doing here with my lacrima inside your chest? Asked the grey dragon to the small, sweet child. I just woke up here after meeting Kami and getting another chance at life. If you like, I could tell you my story, replied the Naruto as he sat and told his story to the dragon. I see, so you came out of my lacrima and somehow some of it got stuck inside you. Well then, how about I train you in magic? I will teach you Dragon Slayer magic. Since I'm a lightning dragon, that will make you a lightning dragon slayer. As well, you will be a 3rd generation dragon slayer because of the lacrima inside your body. My name is Kaminari, I am the queen of lightning and thunder dragons, and I will be your mother in this world, announced Kaminari as she picked up the child and put him on her back and started to fly away. Yes, mom, Naruto said as he fell asleep. I can tell you will do good things in this world, Naruto Namikaze, muttered Kaminari as Naruto slept softly. Naruto slowly opened his eyes as the rising sun hit his face from a hole in the cave's roof. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, and for a moment the world seemed so peaceful. The 9-year-old slowly got up and he started to hear voices from outside the cave. As he got closer to the exit, he heard the voices getting louder. I know I have to leave on July 7th at 777, but it's going to be hard. Over the past 3 years I grew attached to the little brat, he heard the voice of his foster mother. What does she mean by leave on the July 7th at 777? Thought Naruto as he walked out of the cave. As Naruto walked out of the cave, he looked about for his foster mother. When he saw her laying down by the lake, he came to a sudden stop when he noticed a man the same size as his foster mother, wearing the armor of a warrior and a helmet with what looked like horns on each side. He had long golden hair, his eyes were gray, storm cloud color, and he was holding a big hammer in his right hand. Ah, Naruto, you're awake, good. I would like you to meet a friend of mine, Thor the Thunder God, Kaminari said as she started to stand up. Oh, so you're the one with the strong magic signature. Everyone has been feeling it for the last 3 years. I can see why. The magic just tumbles off you like waterfall splashing into a dry creek. You remind me of the boy I took in. Maybe one day you can meet. Anyway, Kaminari, I got to go. Do not forget the date, Thor said, looking at the dragon with a serious look. Then he was gone in a flash of black lightning and a thunderclap. How can I forget, replied Kaminari in a sad voice. Are you okay, mom? Asked Naruto. I am fine, Naruto, come on, I want you to meet 2 of my friends so you can get to know the smell of other dragon slayers, said Kaminari as she picked up Naruto and started to fly away. Who are we meeting, mom? Asked Naruto. The dragon of fire, Igneal, and the dragon of the sky, Grandini, and you better be careful around Igneal. He's hot-headed and might attack us first before talking, replied Kaminari. Flying over a small forest, they saw a small opening in the distance. This was where the wind felt pure and clean. Naruto saw a dragon with sky blue scales and what looked like blue fur that appeared soft and fluffy like a cloud. The dragon's chest and neck were covered in golden chains that sparkled in the sunlight. The dragon wings had snow-white feathers, and much to Naruto's surprise, he noticed something on the dragon dragon's back. With a closer look, it was a small infant girl, about 1 year old with deep blue hair. She seemed to be sleeping soundly and enjoying the carefree ride with her adopted mother. "Ah, Kaminari, so good to see you my old friend, how's the old fool of a king doing?" "Well ex-king since your brother took the crown," said Grandini as she set the small infant down on the ground. "Yeah, he's fine, dying slowly, the old fool has been alive for too long," growled Kaminari as she landed and let Naruto down off her back. "Oh, who is this little guy? Has got a lot of magic for someone his age?" asked Grandini as she looked the child up and down. Naruto, it's nice to meet you," replied Naruto as he bowed his head to the mighty dragon of the sky. "It'll tell you his story, Grandini." "Naruto, why don't you go and look around for a bit while Grandini and I catch up?" asked Kaminari as she sat down. "Okay mom, call me if you need me," Naruto said as he ran off into the woods with excitement. "Now, why not tell me how that boy has as much magic as a dragon," said Grandini in a serious voice. "Very well, let me start from the beginning. This is his second time at life," began Kaminari. Elsewhere in the wood, Naruto was happily singing a song deep in the woods until he came to a stop. When Naruto saw a young boy about his age with black and red hair, the black was as deep as the darkest night sky, and the red was deeper than blood. He was clothed in a sleeveless shirt with the words "Warrior Till I Die" on it. He also had a pair of baggy pants. His eyes were golden like the sun, which were so mesmerizing they would hypnotize anyone looking into them. "Hello, and who might you be?" "My name is Naruto," he said as he walked towards the boy. Suddenly black lightning shot out of the boy's hand and hit Naruto right in the chest. "I felt a strong magic signature that was as strong as mine, but all I found were two dragons, an infant and a child who has a lot of magical power. How disappointing that it looks like you can't use your magic to its full extent," the boy said as he started to walk away before he got hit in the head by a lightning bolt. Why did you attack me for, you moron?" Naruto yelled as he ran at the unknown kid. "Lightning Dragon's rising fist," Naruto yelled as he hit the boy in the face, sending him flying into a nearby rock. "Take that, you loser, but I'm not done yet, I have not mastered this attack, but oh well," Naruto said before he took in a big breath of air and a large magic seal with the face of a dragon appeared in front of him. "Lightning Dragons." He brought his hands up, leaned back and shouted out an earth-rumbling shout. "Roar." As he exhaled, a giant beam of lightning shot forward heading straight towards the young boy, a huge explosion causing both dragons to notice the fight. "Who is Naruto fighting? Whoever it is has a magic signature that rivals his own," thought Kaminari. "Do you think it could be a god slayer? I mean, the magic does feel like it," asked Grandini with worry in her voice as she looked at the small infant lying next to her. "Let's check it out," said Kaminari as she and Grandini flew towards the fight, though Grandini made sure to hold the small child next to her carefully in her forepaw so as to protect the young girl during the flight. Back with Naruto and the unknown boy, Naruto was looking at where his roar hit the boy. He was hoping he did not kill him. Suddenly the lightning Naruto shot towards the boy started to go inside the boy's mouth and he started to eat it. "What? You can eat lightning too?" Naruto said in disbelief at what he was seeing. "Thank you for the meal, but now, it's my turn," said the boy as he took a deep breath, leaning back as he did so. "Lightning gods bellow." As he exhaled, a giant beam of black lightning shot forward which aimed for Naruto, but a huge hammer came down from the sky and stopping the attack. "That's enough, boy," roared the almighty Thor as he flew down, standing in front of Naruto. As Thor arrived, the two dragons arrived to see what happened. When they landed on a nearby mountain, they saw the dragon of fire, Igneal. There was a boy about Naruto's age that sat on his head with pink hair and dark-colored eyed. He must have been watching the fight. "Thor, what is the meaning of your student attacking my son?" roared Kaminari as sparks started to fly around her. She flew to Naruto, checking if he was okay. "I do apologize for my student, he was coming to meet me at the Thunder Temple when he must have felt Naruto's magic signature," Thor replied as he picked up the young black and red-headed boy in his hand. "Next time we meet Dragon Slayer, we will find out whose magic is stronger, my God Slayer magic or your Dragon Slayer magic. Remember my name, it is Hikaru Stormrider, until we meet again." Naruto, his voice echoed as Thor and him flew off to the temple. After a short time, Naruto got to meet Igneal and his son Natsu. Natsu had pink hair and was wearing dirty yellow shorts. Natsu had on a red top with golden buttons down the front of it, which was partly covered by a tan sash. This was fastened securely around his waist. Natsu had a scarf around his neck. The scarf seemed to be made up of dragon scales, but it wasn't. It was special material to protect his neck from fire. Natsu asked to spar with Naruto, and as the two fought, the dragons talked about things within the dragon world. After what seemed like an age, they said goodbye to everyone, and Naruto and Kaminari flew back to the cave. "Hey mom, can I show you a move I've been trying out?" asked a tired Naruto. Sure Naruto, let's go outside, replied Kaminari as she and Naruto went outside. Okay mom, here I go, Naruto said as he took a deep breath, gathering magic into a ball in his throat. He started to fold it over and over again, making the ball bigger and bigger, then compressing it down, then folding again. As Naruto was doing this, a red energy construct started to from around his body. Kaminari saw what was happening. She rubbed her eyes in disbelief. She could have sworn she could see what looked like a fox with 9 tails beside the boy, guiding and assisting the boy. What is that and what is this energy? It feels like it doesn't belong to you Naruto, what is it? Thought Kaminari as she watched Naruto. Naruto took a deep breath and as he did this, some of the red energy flew into his mouth and mixed with the magic spheroid that formed in his throat. Tailed Beast Bomb. As he exhaled, a giant ball of black energy that shot out of Naruto's mouth and hit the rock he had aimed at, but nothing happened. Seconds later the rock started to be sucked into a small hole, and then a huge explosion occurred, blowing up not just the large rock, but the top half of the mountain. Oops Naruto said, rubbing the back of his head before passing out. That was Demon Slayer magic, that must have been the magic, inside the lacrima, however that can't be, the lacrima is lightning magic based. I know that because I made it, therefore, how does he know Demon Slayer magic? Could the demon from Naruto's past life that was sealed inside him been turned into lacrima? Thought Kaminari as she picked up the child and took him to the cave to sleep. The next day Naruto awoke to find a note telling him to explore the nearby towns. He was expected to meet people and to learn about the world, at least for the next 3 years, and for him to wait for her return. 3 years later. Back 776. Naruto had been exploring the towns around the mountains, but he was getting very impatient waiting for Kaminari return. He lived at a small village at the foot of the tallest mountain. Naruto met a lot of people. He was staying in the village called Clover Town. This was where he met an old man named Makarov. After many conversations, Naruto found out Makarov was a mage. He and Naruto were just chatting about some strange things that happened today. So Gramps, Naruto said, earning a small chuckle from Makarov. Makarov was amazed at how comfortable the blonde boy already was with him. If you're a mage, do you belong to a guild? Naruto asked, to which Makarov just nodded. That I am Naruto, I am in fact the guild master of the greatest guild in all of Fiori, Makarov said with pride, who was now standing up, with one leg on the table and his fist in the air. He was posing like a gallant warrior returning from battle. Now it was Naruto's turn to be shocked. Holy crap, he's a guild master, that means he has to be really strong, Naruto thought while trying to now not to laugh, when Riina, who was the owner of the inn they was staying at, popped her head through the door. She told Makarov to stop acting the chav, and then ranted at him for what seemed like an age and in the process, scolded him. Wow, a guild master, that's pretty cool, Naruto said with a smile. What's the guild called? Makarov sat back down and answered Fairy Tail. Naruto tapped his chin with his finger and strikes a thinking pose. Fairy Tail, huh, can't say I have heard that guild. What? You have never heard of Fairy Tail, the master shouted in shock. We're known throughout the land as the best. Where have you been living? In a cave. Naruto chuckled, yeah, I have been living in a cave for a bit, sorry Gramps, but this is the first I have heard of Fairy Tail before. Makarov regained his composure as he let the shock pass by and began to tell Naruto all about Fairy Tail. As Makarov explained, Naruto couldn't help but lean in. This guild sounded amazing. It sounded completely different to the few that he had heard of, and loved the fact that Makarov said Fairy Tail always seems to get into trouble due to being quite destructive. Sounds like it's right up my alley, Naruto chuckled to himself. Makarov saw the look in Naruto's face that he was enjoying hearing about Fairy Tail. Perhaps we have a future new recruit, he thought. After finishing their dinner, the two stayed in their place and continued to talk. Naruto was eager to learn as much as he could from Makarov and had a genuine interest in Fairy Tail. Hey Gramps, if you don't mind me asking, how come you're in Clover Town instead of being at your guild? Naruto asked. Well, you see Naruto, I had to attend the regular guild masters meeting this week, Naruto nodded, being happy he asked those questions earlier in front of the meeting house. We just finished up this morning, and I decided to stay a few more days in Clover Town. It'll be going back to the guild at the end of the week. It's in good hands. Gilderts is in for a few weeks, so it will be fine. Naruto recalled Gilderts from Makarov explaining Fairy Tail earlier, the apparent strongest mage in Fairy Tail, and one of the strongest around, the man that could supposedly bring down an entire building with a flick of his wrist. I wouldn't mind testing my strength against him one day, he thought. What are you thinking? Makarov asked curiously at Naruto. Naruto looked at Makarov and stifled a chuckle. I was just thinking I'd like to test my strength against this Gilderts guy you were talking about. He sounds like a great opponent. Oh, trust me my boy, you won't want to fight Gilderts. He could crush you, and I mean that literally. He sometimes lets slip his control over his crash magic, and it has devastating effects. Wow, Naruto said, whistling. That's quite the power. Makarov just nodded. You know, you never mentioned what magic it is you possess, Makarov said. He was genuinely curious about the boy's magic. If he really was being taught by a dragon, then it must be quite something. Well, I use a form of lost magic, he said, surprising Makarov. It's called Dragon Slayer magic. It allows the users to transform the physiology of their body into those of a dragon. As a result of this, those with Dragon Slayer abilities are able to change their body to their own element in both offensive and defensive styles. They can consume external sources of their natural element to replenish their own energy, plus the senses, like smell and hearing, is heightened. From what Im told, those who wield this kind of magic are known as Dragon Slayers. This boy Makarov thought, to have such a magic is incredible. The power of these Dragon Slayers is truly amazing. To have the power of a dragon really is fearsome and very deadly. He could become one of the strongest Fiori has ever seen if he fully masters this magic. Wow, Makarov said, that is quite the magic. You said change their body to their own element. Which element magic is it you wield with the Dragon Slayer magic? Naruto said, my Dragon Slayer element is lightning. Hearing this, Makarov couldn't help but let out a small shiver. Lightning is a very powerful form of magic and is one of the stronger elemental magics. Dragon Slayer magic sounds powerful, but to be a Dragon Slayer of lightning is truly frightening, Makarov thought. Naruto let out a small chuckle. Pretty cool, huh? He said, to which Makarov just chuckled along with him. The next day, Naruto said goodbye to Makarov and started to walk to the next town. However, he did not know that a meeting of fate awaited him later that day. The Tower of Heaven and the awakening of the demon dragon Slayer. Naruto steadily walked down the road onto the mountain ridge where his dragon was waiting for him. On the way down the rickety road, he saw a small town burning. The flames were golden yellow mixed with deep ruby red. The flames were growing as the fire raged on. What's going on over there? He asked himself as he walked toward the town. Naruto ran to the town to see if he could help. Secretly, he wanted to be a hero amongst the girls. He stopped to catch his breath and daydreamed as he thought of all the town girls in very short skirts and skimpy tops, worshipping him and acknowledging him the hero of the day. The strong smell of burning soon brought him to his senses, and he mopped the dribble from his mouth and continued on his way. After a short walk, he saw a boy about the same age that he was. He had brown hair, and his t-shirt was torn, tattered and black with dirt. His pants were ripped along the back and at the knees. The original color was meant to be blue, but now they were a brown-black color. Through the torn bits, Naruto could see cuts and bruises that the boy had suffered. He looked like he had been beaten by a group of savages. Are you okay? What happened? Naruto asked the boy with deep concern. No, some men came into our town and attacked everyone. They have taken some of my friends, the boy cried as he fell to his knees with exhaustion. Stay here, I will try to save your friends, Naruto replied to the boy. Naruto started to run towards the town, thinking to himself he really had to have a plan. However, nothing came to mind. He soon found himself at the gates of the town, suddenly feeling a little scared, but fired up to save someone, so he could be a hero. The town, due to the fact that it was burning, was so hot. Naruto could hardly see through the smoke. Naruto was filled with sadness as he witnessed bodies all over the place. He looked at the side of the road. He spotted a man in a black coat and wearing a mask. He was dragging a girl who had jet black hair. She was wearing what appeared to be slashed blue dress. The man then tossed the girl into a cage with some other people around her age. In the distance there were two more men wearing identical coats to the first evil man, collecting up more survivors and putting them in cages. Elsewhere outside the town. Where have you got to, you little brat? Said one of the men in the black coat. He walked towards the boy who was hiding behind a rock nearby. He had got away from them in all the confusion. The boy tried not to cry, but it was too late. The man spotted him and stomped towards him in a menacing manner. No, stay away please, stay away from me. The boy yelled with tears streaming down his face. The man moved his hand in front of him to grab the boy. From out of nowhere the boy got angry out of rage. He summoned some sort of magic. Suddenly his temper caused a tree root to come out from the ground, bound by a spell. When the spell broke into its full force, the root tied itself around the man's neck. The more the man struggled, the tighter the root squeezed the man's neck until it was snapped. That's some rare magic you got there, my friend, said a boy who came out the woods. He had black hair with red highlight like blood running through his hair. He was clothed in a short-sleeved shirt and army shorts. Who are you? Asked the boy, a bit scared of his untold magic. My name is Hikaru Stormrider. I am a lightning god slayer. I was just wondering if you would like to join my guild. I can give you and your friends a new home, where no one can hurt you. Now tell me your name, and if you would like to join, replied Hikaru as he gave one of his hand out to help the boy. Yes, I would like that, and my name is Billy Wood, the boy now named Billy said as he take Hikaru's hand as they hiked toward the town. Back with Naruto. Naruto was dragging one of the men in the coat towards the docks. After finding out where they were going to take the children, he sent the man as a warning to the other men. Please, stop, if they find out I took you there, the boss is going to have my head on a stick, the man begged as he was thrown into a boat. Drive the boat, now said a very mad Naruto as he hopped into the boat, while sailing to what looked like a tower. The man got increasingly agitated. They soon docked. Naruto fired up his rage and knocked out the man and took his coat. Naruto walked towards the tower. When he got to the courtyard, he saw a sight that made his blood boil to the point of explosion. He saw children as slaves, and as he followed the new intake of slaves, he caught a glimpse of a cell full of them. Naruto instantly recognized them as slaves, because they were all dressed in old sacks that were tied up on shoulders. One of the slaves had shaggy jet black hair. It was obvious it hadn't been brushed for weeks. Naruto overheard his name to be Simon. He had stern-looking brown eyes. He had a permanent frown which made him mean-looking. The second child slave had uneven blonde hair, tears rolling down his face. This brought a lump to Naruto's throat as he heard Simon to tell the boy called Sho to shut up or they will get in trouble again. The next child Naruto stared at was someone called Wally Buchanan, a cocky little chap who looked very cunning and sly. He had black, short hair and was ready to fight anyone. A cheeky little girl was singing a song to Wally to torment him. He shouted to the girl named Milana to shut her mouth before he filled it with rocks. She was a pretty little thing with shoulder-length brown hair and eyes as bright as stars, but you could see her hiding the fear she felt within. At the back of the cell Naruto noticed an old man only known as Rob. He was old in age with long, white hair. He was full of wisdom with a strong magical power of fire. He was the strong silent type that hid his feelings behind his long beard and hair. The last one was a girl about the same age as the other children. She had short scarlet red hair and had cuts all over her body. She had an eye patch on her right eye. Naruto walked towards the guards. "Oh, you're back, so we're the new slaves," a skethed man in the red coat. "Oh, I got something better than slaves," Naruto said, taking his hood down. "Wait, who are you?" The man was about to ask before he was hit in the head by Naruto fists, knocking him unconscious. "Lightning Dragon's thunder bullet," Naruto yelled as a lightning bullet hit the other guard. "Who are you?" asked a red-headed girl. "I am Naruto and am giving you all your freedom back," Naruto replied. Naruto saw the shocked looks on all their faces as he made his way to the old man's cell. Everyone was eyeing him curiously at what he was going to do next. He stood in front of the cell and shot out a small beam of lightning and destroyed the lock. Everyone looked at him shocked, but a young red-haired girl spoke up. "Why, you're mage," she stuttered out, to which Naruto nodded. "But I am," he replied. "What's your name?" "I am Erza," she replied softly. "It's nice to meet you, Erza. I want you to know that I'm here to save you all," he said sympathetically. "I'm going to make sure each and every one of you leave this place for Vermor." But this said, everyone from child to elderly had a look cross their face, a look that basically said there was still a promise that everything was going to be okay. Naruto went round to every cell and blasted each lock of the cell doors. As they began to pour out of their cells, little Erza Scarlet spoke up again. "Why are you rescuing us? Why do you want to save us?" Everyone remained quiet. They too wanted to know why this young lad was risking his life to protect them. He didn't need to. He didn't even know any of them, but yet here he was. Looking at Erza, who was about a head smaller than him, he simply smiled and said, "Because what they're doing is immoral. Every single person should have liberty. I'm going to fight in order to free you all. That's a promise. I never break my promises." His smile, however, turned to a frown when he noticed her right eye. "Those bastards," he thought, and his fists tightened. His words caused Ezra's eyes to widen as she remembered what Jell had told her. "We have to fight." She repeated the words to herself. She gained a determined glint in her lone eye as she picked up one of the dropped weapons lying on the floor. "We have to fight. Stand up for freedom." Stimulated by her words, the rest of the slaves stood up and armed themselves with what they could find. Naruto smiled at their willpower and gave a smile and a nod. "Follow me. He'll show you the way out," he shouted, running to and up a stairs had come down from. After arriving outside from their lockups, Naruto and the slaves came face to face with an army of cultists hell-bent on crushing Naruto and the revolt. "You think you can rebel? Put them all down," the head of the cultists' army shouted to his men. Both sides charged at each other with battle cries as they began clashing swords in a massive battle with the slaves, fighting as hard as they could for their freedom. "You won't take advantage of us. Kill them all. Slaughter all the slaves," the cultists shouted. "Bring in the mages to take out that blonde-haired punk," Naruto heard, which caused him to grit his teeth. Naruto rapidly turned around and faced Erza, who was fighting close by him. "You seem to be the leader of these guys. Tells everyone to stick to fighting the guards while I take out the mages." He took off from the main group and rushed towards the group of mages that were being assembled. The group saw him and began charging up their spells. "Oh no you don't," Naruto said as a spell seal appeared in front of him. "Lightning Dragon's Roar," Naruto yelled as a big beam of yellow lightning shot forwards. It took out half the group, then Naruto turned around. He saw one of the guards attack Ezra from behind. Naruto ran as fast as he could to stop the man's sword from cutting Ezra. As Naruto blocked the move, the sword went into Naruto's left eye, cutting him so deep it caused him to become enraged. He kicked the man away with all his might. "Everyone get to the boats now." As the slaves got to the boats, he followed holding his eye, so no one could see the damage and from the blood to prevent from scaring the little ones. "Where's Ezra, old man?" Naruto asked. She went to find Gel, the old man replied. Damn it, Naruto said as he ran back to get the red-headed girl. Erza arrived at Gel's location, shed freedom from his restraints, but she had then noticed that something was off. He started ramble nonsense about what true freedom was. He went on about how right things were here. He was adamant he wasn't leaving. He then used some strange magic to kill some cultists that had been badly beaten. They were barely clinging to life. She had pleaded with him to run away with her and explained how all of their friends were waiting for him. But then he started to rant about Zeref and the need to complete the tower. Erza thought he was acting strange because he was tortured in such a way no words can describe. Erza announced that they were leaving. That was when Gel turned on her. Erza never saw him act in such a vicious manner. He lifted his hand and released a blast of magic, sending her crashing through a wall. Before she landed on the floor, she seemed to skid along the ground. She rolled over onto her stomach groaning in pain. She looked at her friend Wad gone crazy. I don't need you anymore. As a reward for getting rid of those nuisances I won't kill you. You can go and find your fleeting freedom. He sneered at her, a look that didn't suit an 11-year-old. Gel, she gasped out, feebly grasping at her throat. Please don't do this. Put her down. A voice rang out through the room. Both Gel and Erza looked over to see Naruto standing in the doorway, glaring at the blue-haired boy in front of him. Who the hell are you? What are you doing here? Gel demanded. Me? Well, Naruto Namikaze, what doing here? Well, that's pretty easy, freeing all the slaves. Magic energy erupted out of Naruto as lightning crackled around his hands. He quickly thunder dashed in front of Gel and pushed him away from Erza, sending him across the room with a crash. Before anything else could happen, a rumble shook the tower as everyone began to struggle to get their footing. Damn, Naruto thought, this place is coming down. All the fighting must have made this place unstable. Naruto quickly turned to Erza and jogging up to her as the building began to collapse behind him. As he leaned down to pick her up, he found that she was still conscious and breathing. Thank you, she mouthed before passing out on his back. He smiled before running back out the way he came in as the tower began to collapse behind him. Before he left, he looked to where the blue-haired boy was, but found he had disappeared and there was no trace of him. As soon as Naruto began to climb onto one of the ships, he passed Erza over to Rob. I'm going back to see if we got everyone. I will be back in 10 minutes, Naruto said as he ran back toward the tower. When Naruto got to tower, he confirmed every room. 5 minutes later he came to the last room and he opened the door and saw a sight that was inhuman. He saw bodies upon bodies with eyes and limbs missing. Naruto fell to his knees with shock when some guards surrounded Naruto. His head was down out of respect for the loss of life. How could you do that to all these children? Asked Naruto with a voice full of rage. Well, they tried escaping, so we had to teach them a lesson, the main leader laughed. Brog, Naruto screamed as red energy shot out of Naruto's body and into the sky. It was like a pillar creating storm clouds, thunder, and lightning could be heard from the clouds. The guards could see the young boy fingernails grow longer and harder, along with his toenails that grew at the same rate. His hair started to grow and become wilder. His teeth sharpened and looked like a pair of fangs. But what got everyone's attention was his right eye was no longer blue, but now blood red with a slanted pupil, and his whisker marks darkened in color. Steam started to come out of his injured left eye. What the hell is he? Asked one of the men. I am going to kill you all. Naruto shouted as he opened his injured eye, showing everyone it was healing at an inhuman rate. As the red energy starting to take hold, a red mist formed wings and a tail shape upon him. Meanwhile in the sky, the large black dragon was flying in the sky. It seemed to be flying away from a destroyed city that it just wrecked. On its back was a small silver hair girl. When the dragon abruptly stopped in mid-flight, because it felt magic it assumed was long lost. This magic it is Demon Slayer magic, a magic before the time of Zeref, but how is that possible? The dragon said to itself. The dragon noticed a young boy about the same age of the child on its back. Looks like that dragon slayer has finally unlocked his storm. Now nothing will stop him in Aknologia. How about I take that child off your hands? I mean, you are going to leave her on X777, right? So why not let her join the guild I am making, the young boy said as he looked the dragon in the eye showing no fear. Sure thing, human. I was just going to kill the brat on X777 anyway. Why not let her live to get stronger? Maybe I might a decent fighter out of her yet, Aknologia said as he handed the child over. Back with Naruto. Stop him, do not let him destroy the tower, yelled one of the men as they summoned up their spells. Hailed beast wind bullet, yelled Naruto as he shot out a big gust of wind from his mouth. Ah, yelled the guards as they were thrown back into the wall with a thump. Naruto used a red mist wings to fly outside. He started to fly up and over the tower. I'm not going let you go, yelled on of the dark mages. Earth make wall, yelled the mage when a big wall of earth shot out the ground blocking Naruto's path. You think that will stop me? Naruto yelled. Tailed beast hellfire. Naruto shot a big ball of blood-red fire from his mouth, melting the wall of earth. Naruto flew high into the sky and summoned a spell seal. On top, the spell seal was a one-tailed dog raccoon. To its right was a two-tailed cat. To the right of the cat was a three-tailed turtle. Following to turtle, there was a four-tailed ape. After the ape there was a five-tailed horse. After that horse was a six-tailed slug. Next to the slug was a one-tailed horned beetle with 6 wings attached to its tail. Succeeding the horned beetle was an 8-tailed ox with octopus tentacles for tails, and next to that, to the left of the dog raccoon, was a 9-tailed fox, and in the center of spell seal was what looked like a 10-tailed monster, as raw magic was being sucked into the seal making a small ball. Hailed beast devastation, yelled Naruto as the ball of raw magic dropped from the spell seal and hit the island slowly. The island was consumed by a bright light. When the light had died down there was nothing left but an abyss where the island used to stand. He saw the young blue hair boy being tacked away by a man in an eye patch. Naruto saw the boat with Rob in it and flight to it. When he flew over the boat, the red mist that formed the wings and tails vanished. Naruto descended with speed heading for the boat, and with that he passed out and collapsed into the boat. Naruto woke up to find himself lying on something soft. He opened his eyes and stared up at the star-filled sky. What happened? Naruto groaned as he slowly began to sit up when he noticed something next to him. He looked over to see Erza huddled next to him peacefully sleeping. She has been like that ever since she found out that you passed out. She didn't want to leave you, a voice said softly. He looked over to see the old man Rob walk over to him. He sat down beside them. How are you feeling? He asked with great concern. Not too bad, I'm little sore and tired, replied Naruto as he rubbed his head. Naruto looking down to see it, his side had been bandaged up. There were a few first aid boxes on the ship. I bandaged you up when you passed out, Rob said. Naruto hesitated before Rob quickly spoke up. Don't worry, I saw the scars, but I won't mention them to anyone at all. For someone so young you seem to have been through a lot. It was just me who bandaged you up, no one else saw them, mind you. Naruto took a deep breath, thanking some deity that no one else saw the scars. He wasn't embarrassed of them. He just didn't want many people knowing about them until he was ready. Thank you, Naruto said. I owe you one. The old man gave a wholehearted laugh at Naruto. My boy, if anything it's the least I could do. You just saved us and gave us our freedom back. Either way, thank you again, to which Rob just agreed. When Naruto looked around he saw they were on the shoreline and could see a cane resort just off in the distance. We landed on shore just over an hour ago. Thought it best to stay put for a little while and enjoy some relaxation. Naruto nodded but spoke up. Where is everyone else? Many on the ships took off as soon as they got to land. My guess is that they just wanted to go home, though some of the offspring I haven't seen. But then again, there were a lot of ships sailing off, so they must have landed somewhere else. Are you part of guild? Rob asked, to which Naruto shook his head. Not at the moment, but there is one guild that I do plan on joining once I'm ready. Which guild is that? Rob asked. Naruto said Fairy Tail. Rob had quick look of surprise cross his face before he grinned. Ah, so you want to join Fairy Tail too, huh? Little Erza here wants to do the same. Now that she knows she has magic, she can make that dream a reality. Makarov would like you too. Hess is always looking for new recruits to join the Fairy Tail family. You know Gramps? Naruto said in surprise. I used to be a part of Fairy Tail, he said, turning around to show the large fairy tail mark on his back. He and I were great friends and went on many journeys together. How do you know Makarov? Rob asked, to which Naruto told him about meeting Makarov in Clover Town, stopping a bank robbery, and Makarov inviting him to Fairy Tail. When their discussion began to quiet down he glanced over at Erza still sleeping next to him and once again frowned at her right eye. Hey old man Rob, what happened to Ezra's eye? Naruto saw the sad look cross onto Rob's faces as the two looked down at Ezra's sleeping form. About a week ago the children tried to escape, they got caught, but decided to only reprimand Erza. They persecuted her and cut her right eye out. Naruto grit his teeth in antagonism. How dare they do that to her, he thought. She is an 11-year-old girl. I tried to use my magic to give her my eye, but the age gap between us is too great for the magic to work. Everything was quiet for a minute, only the sound of the waves against the sand could be heard before Naruto spoke up. You said Erza was going to join Fairy Tail, right? To which Rob nodded. And Fairy Tail treats each other like family. Since we're both going to be part of Fairy Tail one day, then the two of us will be family. I always shield the people that I see valuable to me. Erza, I can tell, is going to be very valuable to me. I won't have someone that I care about be in pain like this. The blonde paused as he looked Rob straight in the face, a look of pure seriousness shone. I will give her my eye, Naruto said, which caused fright to spread across Rob's face. But you hardly know her. You would really do this for someone you barely know? To which Naruto simply nodded and gave him a small smile. Like I said, Erza will be family to me one day. That's all the reason I need. This boy, Rob thought, he is genuinely exceptional. I see why you like him, Makarov. He really would be a great addition to Fairy Tail. Rob sighed and looked at the two. The two of you look close enough in age, so it should work, Rob said. Come closer, and we can begin, to which Naruto did. My magic is known as soul magic. It's a form of lost magic. It can replace things such as an eye or limbs, but it's had to come at a cost. A sacrifice has to be made. In this case, you could say an eye for an eye, literally. Close your right eye, Rob said, to which Naruto did. Rob gently placed his hand on Naruto's eye and his other gently on Ezra's eye, hoping not to wake like her. Soul magic, Rob whispered. Exchange. A small light erupted from Rob's hands and covered Naruto and Ezra's eyes. Naruto began to feel a tingling sensation take over his. Before he felt what he could only describe as a pop sensation. Like his eye just disappeared. He looked down at Erza and slowly saw something beginning to form in her empty eye socket. Within a minute, the exchange was complete. It's done, Rob said as his magic began to die down. He brought his hand up to his eye and could feel the emptiness in it. Naruto tore some cloth from his shirt and wrapped it around his head, covering his right eye. Naruto took a deep breath before standing up. It's time I left. I have to get back to Clover Town. My sensei will be arriving there in a few days. Do its best. I get going now. Rob nodded and gave his thanks to Naruto again. Are you going to say goodbye to Erza? To which Naruto shook his head. Let her sleep, it's been a long day, just tell her that I will see her again one day in Fairy Tail, to which Rob nodded. Naruto turned and began to walk away and step onto the path away from the beach. However, before he could go any further, he heard rapid footsteps coming from behind him. Naruto turned around to see Erza, now awake, running towards him and crash right into him, wrapping her arms around him. Please don't go, I don't want to be abandoned, she cried. You're not going to be alone, Erza, you want to join Fairy Tail, right? He asked, to which she nodded into his chest. Well then, from what I have been told, Fairy Tail is a great place and you will make great friends there. But you won't be there, she said. Yes, but I got something to do first. I will be at Fairy Tail in a week, hopefully I see you then. Okay, Ezra. Naruto said to Erza as she let go of him. Okay, but you better be there so you can help me get stronger, replied Erza. Yeah, okay, I promise y'all see me then. I never break my promises, as Naruto walk away. You better, my hero, Erza replied as she and Rob walked to the train. 2 days later at the mountain. Hi mom, I am back, Naruto said as he walked up to the dragon. Naruto, so good to see you, what happened to your eyes? Asked Kaminari with shock and surprise at seeing her only child with optical injuries. I gave my left one to a girl named Ezra, and my right one was cut out and then healed by my demon magic, replied Naruto. Naruto, look in the lake, said Kaminari. Naruto looked into the lake and he saw that his right eye was red with a slanted pupil. What the hell? Naruto said as he looked closer at his eye in the water. Look like your demon slayer magic gave you a whole new eye, said Kaminari. Mom, can you give me a new eye please? Naruto is looking at the dragon. Sure, my old man left me his eye as a memento, he died a year ago, but I'm going to seal most of your magic, since the eye might drain you of your magic at first, when you begin using it, replied Kaminari, as she took out a small jar with a golden dragon's eye. After implanting the eye into Naruto and sealing his magic off, Naruto went to Fairy Tail where he saw Erza and Makarov. After a week, Naruto was asked by Makarov to go find a dragon slayer named Natsu, and he said yes and he went off. At the same time at the Magic Council. So, is it done? Asked a young boy with brown hair and green eyes who stood in wooden armor. Yeah, Holy Tail is now a light guild, said a red and black-headed boy. He was clothed in ripped blue jeans and sleeveless shirt with a long coat with the word First Master. On his right arm were 2 deep golden swirls coming together to form an eye of a storm. About time, Shadow. I always said we should be a light guild, said a young silver hair girl. She had sky blue eyes and was wearing gothic clothes. Let's go to introduce ourselves to Fairy Tail, Lilith. Billy, said the red and black-headed boy. Yes, Master Hikara, replied Billy and Lilith. It had been a year since Naruto joined Fairy Tail. Over the course year, he met all sorts of people. A 13-year-old Naruto was looking at the request board. It was 2 weeks before his birthday. He looked around the guild and saw all the people that had become his family. Sitting at a table near the bar was Kana Alberona, a brown-haired girl who was wearing an orange dress. She had brown eyes and she was playing cards. Next to her was Levi McGarden, a cute little girl who had blue hair and hazel eyes. She was wearing a red and yellow top with a black skirt and she was talking to Lisana, a girl with silver hair and deep blue eyes. She was wearing a light pink dress. Next to her was her big brother Elfman. He had the same silver hair and had blue eyes, and he was wearing a blue suit. On the next table were 2 people he met on his 3-year travel. And Gray, the boy who was with them, joined a guild, saying he will become stronger than both of them. Had dark purple hair that went down to her neck. She was wearing a bright yellow top with blue jeans and a pair of black boots. Gray, who was sat by her, was wearing nothing but his shorts. He had black hair with deep black eyes. Flashback. Was standing in a pose with a crying Gray behind her telling her not to do it, and a knocked out boy with white hair. In front of her was a demon as big as a mountain. I'm sorry, Gray, please grow strong to protect that what is closest to your heart, said as she summoned up all the magic she could. But before she could use her spell, a young boy with blonde hair jumped at the demon. Hailed beast Sonic Boom, said Naruto as a shock wave hit the demon, knocking it back, tripping over a few buildings before crashing to the snow-covered ground. I do not know what spell you were going to use, lady, but I could tell it would have killed you. I'll handle this. Blinked before she glared at the blonde before her. And just why the hell should I let you take on Deliora? You're only a child. You get killed, get out of there before you do get killed, and you'll be another one lost to this monstrosity. Yelled. Naruto turned to the older woman and grinned like a fox, his eyes turning from sapphire to crimson, his pupils became vertical slits, his whisker marks became darker, and his hair became wilder. "I think I can handle myself, lady." Beside, Naruto grinned as he showed off his sharpened canines that gave him a rather vulpine look. "I have magic that can slay demons," Naruto said before he ran at the demon. Deliora rose up and roared as it glared at Naruto. Tailed Beast's acid touch. Red energy coated Naruto's hand, the energy forming into that of a large clawed hand, which increased in size to that of Deliora's hand. The bubbling energy slammed into Deliora's chest, burning away at the demon's flesh causing it to roar in pain. Naruto then took a deep breath and shot out a powerful bullet of compressed air. Tailed Beast's wind bullet. The attack crashed against Deliora's chest and sent the demon stepping backwards. Deliora snarled as its flesh mended back together before it took a deep breath and released powerful beam of green energy. The snow suddenly rose up around Naruto, and the heat from Naruto's demon cloak melted the snow, an orb of water forming around Naruto. Tailed Beast's water shield. He yelled as the shield took the attack head-on. The energy beam hit the shield and continued on past, in a straight line before the path the beam took erupted into an explosion of yellow flame. Naruto's water shield quickly evaporated from the flames, but his demon cloak protected him from being critically injured, but it still hurt like hell. The blonde soared through the air before Deliora raised its hand and slammed Naruto into the snow, an ear-shattering boom forming from the impact he made with it. Naruto quickly recovered and breathed out a column of red flame. Tailed Beast's hellfire. He roared. The fires clashed with Deliora's energy beam and caused a large explosion. Naruto leaped through the smoke that formed from said explosion and cocked back his demon magic-coated fist. The fist expanded in size before Naruto slammed the fist straight against Deliora's face. The demon of Zeref had its head reeling backwards from the blow before Naruto clapped his hands together. Tailed Beast sonic boom. The sound wave shattered the sound barrier and slammed impacted with Zeref's demon. Deliora roared as it took the attack head-on before sending Naruto away with a slap of its hand. Naruto collided with multiple houses that were previously destroyed by the mighty demon before stopping at the bottom of a large snow mound. A deep trench of melted snow marked his path, and and Gray could only watch as the demon stalked towards the downed boy. "Gray, please tell me I'm not dreaming," said. "Master, I think you're not dreaming because that kid is fighting Deliora and holding his own." Naruto leaped up from the snow with a mighty leap. Naruto fired a two-punch combo which hit Deliora backpedaling. Naruto then lashed out with a blast of red flame and a wind bullet. Tailed Beast's Omega Hellfire Storm. He cried out as the elements of wind and fire mixed to form an even more powerful attack. The storm of crimson flames washed over Deliora like a wave, and the demon roared with pain, rolling in the snow to try and douse the flames with melted snow. Naruto watched the soaking wet demon as he landed, the demon having managed to quell the fires before taking a deep breath. Naruto's magic took on that of the lightning element, and the lightning swirled into his jaws before condensing into a powerful sphere of electrical charge. Water conducts electricity, time to fry some demon, Naruto thought as he let loose his attack. Tailed Beast's lightning roar. The attack shot out of Naruto's mouth in the form of a yellow beam of lightning. The lightning sped forth and electrocuted the water-soaked demon, its body spasming as the muscles loosened and contracted multiple times. Naruto then called upon his demon cloak's ability to increase in size, and he increased the size of its hands and feet. He grabbed the demon around its neck and held it up before punching it in the stomach. Deliora flew high into the air before Naruto jumped after it. He punched the demon in the face and then twice in the chest. He kicked Deliora in the stomach before wrapping his hands around the demon's throat and positioning the larger being above him and backflipped, using the momentum to add power to the double kick he used on the demon's lower abdominals. Deliora fell to the earth and Naruto fell after it. He grabbed Deliora with the demon cloak's enlarged hands and went into a series of front flips, gaining momentum. With a roar of effort, Naruto saw the ground getting closer and slammed Deliora into the snow, forming a gigantic crater from the force generated. Deliora growled as it was about to get up. The burns from the grip of Naruto's demon cloak healing, but very, very slowly. "You just never stay down, do you? Well then, guess I'll make sure you stay down, and have you never bother the human race ever again, soldier of Zeref." Naruto spoke in his demonic voice. Naruto jumped away, his cloak reverting to normal size. Naruto then fell to all fours, and 9 tails of bubbling demonic energy sprouted out of his rear. Naruto raised his head. Mouth opened and his tails converged at one point above his open maw. Eternano from the air, positive energy which was shown to be blue, and negative energy which was shown to be red, swirled into a dark violet-black sphere of pure Eternano. The Eternano sphere then compressed into a small size, and Naruto swallowed the attack. Steam exited from Naruto's jaws as he watched his rising opponent. The Demon Slayer magic user grinned widely as his body began to bloat slightly. Naruto reared his head back, and Deliora's head snapped up as it felt the magic power wash over it, and it was rather large. Deliora roared and fired out a torrent of flames, but Naruto fired off his attack. Tailed Beast's bomb. The attack fired off as a powerful beam of Edenano that washed over Deliora's fire attack. The powerful Demon Slayer attack slammed into Deliora, pushing the demon far away from the village as its flesh and bone was being disintegrated by the attack. The attack finally ended as Deliora crashed into one of the nearby mountains. The tailed beast bomb exploded outwards as a giant dome of magic energy that had enough force to cause the mountain to topple. Naruto sighed as he fell to his knees, the effects of his demon cloak catching up to him. The blonde panted in exhaustion before looking up to see and Gray running towards him. "Hey, you guys, okay?" The blonde demon slayer panted. And Gray nodded before speaking. "Yeah, but holy shit kid, you beat the shit out of Deliora like he was nothing." And Gray said simultaneously. "I told you, I have magic that slays demons," he replied as his regenerative abilities kicked and he was once again standing up on his 2 feet. "Master, where do we go from here?" Gray asked. Frowned at that. "Was this your village?" Naruto asked. And Gray nodded. "Yeah, we actually live on the outskirts of the village, but Gray here," she gestured to her pupil, "decided to try and take on the demon, Deliora, by himself, and so I had to come save him. My other student, Lion," she gestured to her unconscious pupil, "came with me." "Well, here's the thing, you see, I'm part of a mage guild and lady, if we had people like you and your students, it could become even better than what it already is, so, I would like to invite you to join my guild." "Depends, what's this guild called?" "Fairy Tail?" blinked at that before chuckling. "So old Makarov sent you here, huh?" The blonde chuckled at that. "Maybe, or I could have come here of my own accord to take down Deliora. Anyway, you don't have to decide now, take your time, but know that if you want to settle down, Fairy Tail's got your back." Nodded. "I'll keep that in mind, thanks." "Oh right, sorry, I never introduced myself. The name is Naruto Uzumaki, pleasure to meet you." Naruto extended his hand. "Name's I've already introduced you to Gray and Lion," said as she looked at her 2 students. Gray trying to wake Lion up was a rather humorous sight as the black-haired boy was slapping the unconscious white-haired boy across his face rather hard. "Well, it'll see you around." "Sure thing, Naruto." The blonde nodded to the experienced ice mage before taking off through the snow. Then flashback. As Naruto was thinking of the time he met he saw Ezra and Murahin fighting over him. "Naruto will never go for someone like you, washboard," Ezra said. "Oh, and he will go for someone like you, armor freak," yelled Mira. While Naruto watched the fight unfold, a sweat drop present on his person, he heard a familiar voice. "Naruto fight me," yelled a pink-haired dragon slayer as Naruto raised his leg and Natsu ran face first into his foot. "Hi Natsu," Naruto said before he heard the door open. Walking into the guild was a man covered in all black, his eyes being the only visible thing through the hood. "So this is Fairy Tail?" The man asked more to himself than anyone else. "How weak," the man said looking around. "Are you calling weak, you moron?" yelled Natsu as he jumped with his fist to light fire dragon's iron. "You idiot," Shadow remarked in the distance, "you think you can take me on? Lilith is stronger than you, darkness magic." "Dark cannon," he said in a neutral tone firing a black beam of darkness, sending Natsu through the air with his attack. "Pathetic," Shadow sneered in disgust and anger at Natsu, "you dare call yourself a dragon slayer? I could beat you in my sleep." "That will do, Shadow, we're not here to fight yet, but if you want to fight a true dragon slayer, then fight Naruto when the time comes," said Hikaru as he walked in with Lilith and Billy. "You?" Naruto said as he saw Hikaru. Just then Makarov came out from behind the bar. "May I ask what Holy Tail is doing here, Hikaru?" said Makarov as he walked up to the young master. "Who's Holy Tail?" said one of Fairy Tail's mages. "That's the guild with a young master about Naruto's age," replied another Fairy Tail mage. "What? How did he become a master at his age?" "He must be strong then," replied the first mage. "We're here to inform Fairy Tail of the upcoming S-Class Mage Tournament that the Magic Council is hosting for all Eagle Guilds in the country. You must have at least one S-Class Mage in the tournament," said Hikaru looking at Makarov. "Well, there are 2 people I have been wanting to make S-Class," Makarov replied as he looked at the son of Thor. "Good, now tell me their names, and I will tell you where and when the tournament is," Hikaru replied. "Our S-Class Mage who will join will be and the people who I want to become S-Class are my grandson Laxus and the Dragon Slayer Naruto," Makarov told the young god slayer. "Okay, here's the form, just write the names you just told me, and the form will be sent back to the Magic Council as proof of your entry." As Makarov did this, Hikaru continued speaking. "The tournament is 1 week from today and will take place in Era." As soon as he finished saying this, the paper Makarov wrote on vanished within a flash of light and a magic circle. "Alright, thank you for your time, Hikaru Dono," Makarov said. The Thunder God Slayer nodded and his guild walked out. "Oh, yes, before I forget," Hikaru turned and looked Naruto directly in his eyes, the blonde watching back with equal intensity. "Dragon Slayer of Lightning, I hope to fight you soon." Naruto nodded, a wide grin forming on his face. "We have a score to settle, Hikaru. I just hope you don't disappoint me." Naruto chuckled. Hikaru gave his own chuckle. Black lightning surged around Hikaru's hand, yellow and blue coating Naruto's as the two sized each other up before the master of Holy Tail and his guild turned, the magic power spikes and the lightning dissipating. See you all in a week. Hikaru and his guild exited the fairy tale building. A week later in Era, Naruto, and Laxus arrived at the stadium. When they entered the stadium they met Makarov waiting at Fairy Tail's box. In the stadium stood a man dressed in a tuxedo. In the boxes in the stadium they saw 3 guild boxes and 1 big box where the council were set. Within the stadium was a large crowd of civilians who came to witness the spectacle of mages being crowned with the S-rank title. Within the guild boxes were a few other members of the guilds that chose to participate. Then Fairy Tail's Naruto Uzumaki and Holy Tail's Billy would come down here please, the man said as Naruto jumped from the box to the man, Billy doing the same. Okay, the first match between Naruto and Billy begin, the man said as he moved away. Wood magic. Deep forest. Billy said as a forest suddenly came out of the ground. Naruto looked around trying to find Billy when a tree root shot at him cutting his cheek. So has long range. If I can get him close to him and keep the fight in close combat, I can win, Naruto was thinking before he was caught in a ball of tree roots. Wood magic. Root prison, Billy said as Naruto was locked in a root ball. Naruto started to feel his magic being forcibly removed from his body. Naruto gritted his teeth as he struggled to stay on his 2 feet within his confines. Naruto coated his hands with lightning magic and with a roar he went to make an exit, but before he made contact, the lightning magic was sucked from his hand, making him punch the root prison's thorny surface with his flesh. His knuckles were bleeding slightly as a result. Damn, if I stay in here I will lose my entire magical power. The prison is too dense to use physical strength to get out, and if I try to use magic to get out, it will end up being absorbed by the prison. Looks like I have to use Grandpa's eye, Naruto said to himself as he gathered his magic into his dragon eye. His eye showed him where his magic was being absorbed from and where it was going. He saw light blue lights that were coming out his foots. He saw them going to a light blue human shape. There, Naruto said. He quickly concentrated his lightning magic into his hands, forming claws. Lightning dragon's voltage claws. Naruto slashed at the area before his magic could be drained, and in an explosion of lightning, the root prison was now sporting a large hole in it. Naruto quickly jumped out, panting. Damn it, lost too much magic. Time for close combat, Naruto said as he watched his opponent. Billy's eyes widened as he saw Naruto stare at him, his rounded pupils becoming vertical slits. Naruto raced towards Billy, but the wood magic user quickly called forth his wooden puppets to defense. 3 roots of varying lengths and size rushed towards Naruto. Naruto quickly jumped atop one root and ran along its length, doing the same to avoid being hit while simultaneously moving closer and closer towards his opponent. 3 roots attacked simultaneously, but Naruto quickly grabbed onto one root and swung atop it before backflipping to avoid the second one as he was in midair. The third root aimed to have him return to ground level, but Naruto quickly allowed gravity to take hold for a few seconds, avoiding the whip-like root before turning and grabbing onto it. The blonde dragon slayer then held on tightly as the root began to move wildly, trying to get Naruto off. Wait for it, now. Naruto thought as the root had been bent back in the exact opposite of Billy's direction, so when the root came back up, Naruto let go and he flew through the air, directly towards Billy. Billy quickly slammed his hands on the ground and a large hand made of roots formed into a fist and went to strike Naruto. Naruto cursed as he was struck by the fist, but Naruto managed to right himself in midair and rocket back towards Billy. The wood magic user was caught off guard as Naruto appeared in his face, head slamming into his diaphragm. Billy grasped his stomach, trying to gain the wind that was knocked out of his lungs, but Naruto denied him the opportunity as he punched Billy in the face multiple times before spinning, slamming a powerful roundhouse to his side. Billy rolled on the ground before Naruto appeared and grabbed his downed opponent. He held him up and planted a powerful, lightning-infused uppercut that caused Billy to enter a state of paralysis. Naruto leaped after his opponent, doing an upward sweeping kick, followed by another. Naruto then clasped his hands together and slammed them down on Billy's cranium, sending him rocketing to the ground. A crater formed from the force of the impact. Billy grunted as he called upon the might of the forest head mate and sent a flurry of wooden fists towards Naruto. The blonde raised his right hand and summoned lightning into it. Lightning dragon's heavenward halberd, Naruto said as he fashioned the lightning into the shape of a halberd. Naruto gave a grunt of effort as he threw the lightning-made weapon as hard as he could. The attack pierced through the wooden fists as if it were made of tissue paper. The heat generated by the powerful lightning bolt also caused the wooden fists to burst into flame, turning them into ash. Billy tried to move, but he used too much magic keeping the forest up along with his attacks. That alongside the fact that his paralysis by Naruto's lightning-infused attacks kept him down, Billy was hit right in the chest, causing a large explosion of lightning. The light died down to reveal the smoking form of one Billy Wood. The judge looked at Billy and back at Naruto, who was panting from exertion. "Hell, be fine, I lowered the power enough to not kill him," Naruto wheezed. The judge nodded before raising his arm. "Winner, Naruto of Fairy Tail," said the judge as everyone in the stands and in Fairy Tail's box cheered before Naruto passed out. A few hours later, Naruto woke up and he looked at Makarov, who smiled at him. "You've been out for a good few hours, Naruto my boy, lucky you won your match. The semi-finals are about to start and you're up against Uchiha from Blue Pegasus," Makarov said as he walked over to him. "The people you wanted to fight were defeated. Bacchus from Quattro Cerberus lost to Uchiha from Blue Pegasus, had defeated Karen Lilica from Blue Pegasus. But I'm sorry to say that Laxus lost to Lilith in a matter of minutes. That girl is stronger than she looks, and I'm sorry to say that was down by her as well. So the only people left to fight are me, Uchiha and this Lilith girl." Makarov nodded. "Take down Uchiha and be careful, Naruto, when you move on to fight Lilith. She is much stronger than she looks," Makarov said as Naruto walked out to go to fight Uchiha. To say the fight against Uchiha was uneventful was an understatement though. Naruto had immediately done a lightning dragon's roar, to which Uchiha had responded by taking a parfum that made his body similar to that of rubber, thus making him unable to conduct electricity. It was a smart move on the Blue Pegasus mage's part, but it was also stupid due to him becoming rubber. His body weight had become much lighter, so when Naruto went to her for a kick, well, let's just say Uchiha was literally on cloud 9 before falling back down in a very humorous fashion, the parfum wearing off just before he hit the ground. Thus, Naruto was declared the winner due to Uchiha now having broken bones. "Me-en," the orange-haired man groaned out in pain, "Naruto," and the audience sweat dropped at that. A small break was then given for Naruto to recuperate before his fight with Lilith began. "Good luck, Naruto," Makarov told him. The blonde nodded to his master before stepping out onto the field where he met Lilith. Lilith was around Naruto's age, if not a bit older. She had long black hair that extended just past her shoulders. She wore a long-sleeved, black top, and a black skirt which had blue flame-like marking adorning the hem of the skirt. She wore a pair of black boots that had a slight heel to it to give it some femininity, and she wore dark blue eyeliner. She was also a rather attractive girl with curves in the right places, at least that's what Naruto was thinking. Time for the final match. Lilith Longhorn of Holy Tail vs Naruto Uzumaki of Fairy Tail. Lilith and Naruto stared at one another, muscles tensing as they got ready to fight. "Let the match begin," the referee said as he ran away to his safety zone. Naruto and Lilith glared at one another before they both leaned back. Lightning swirled in Naruto's jaws, while pure magic energy did the same in Lilith's. Lightning dragons. Apocalypse dragons. They both exhaled and shot their attacks towards each other. Roar. Both attacks clashed in an epic explosion of lightning and magic energy. Naruto's eyes were slightly widened with surprise as he realized that Lilith was a dragon slayer like himself. "She's a dragon slayer too," Natsu screamed from within the stands where the Fairy Tail mages were also in shock. The audience, the Magic Council, everyone was in pure disbelief at seeing another dragon slayer, everyone except the members of Holy Tail. Hikaru smirked. "Let's see how handle our dragon slayer, the dragon slayer of the apocalypse, Lilith Longhorn," the lightning god slayer thought. The smoke dispersed slightly as Lilith leaped through it towards Naruto. The blonde ducked beneath a punch from the girl. Before slamming his knee against her stomach, Lilith growled as she clutched her stomach before aiming a flying kick towards his head. Naruto raised his arms in an X shape to block the kick, but Lilith used the force of the kick to propel herself over Naruto's head and appear behind him. She then coated her hands with black-blue colored magic energy and roared, "Apocalypse Dragon's bloody claws." She swiped his Naruto's back with enough force to send him careening through the air, while also tearing through Naruto's clothes and back, leaving 5 long slash marks on his back. The boy stood back up, blood dripping down his back from the wounds. Lightning Dragon's Thunder Dash. A sonic boom sounded as Lilith was suddenly hit with an elbow to the chest. She went skidding backward before Naruto appeared with his fist coated in lightning. Lightning Dragon's Rising Fist. He yelled as he slammed a strong uppercut. High levels of electricity coursed through her body, but Lilith proved to be more resilient than he thought as she flipped in midair in order to build up momentum as she fell back to earth, her feet coated in black and blue magic energy. Apocalypse Dragon Seismic Stomp. Naruto backflipped out of the way as Lilith made contact with the ground. The force of her impact caused the stadium to shake and crater formed from the epicenter, which was where the Apocalypse Dragonslayer landed. The crater was at least 10 feet in diameter. Lilith then spun, a tail extending from her rear. Apocalypse Dragon's Tail Strike. She cried out. The whip-like tail slammed into Naruto, knocking the wind out of his lung and sent him flying into the walls of the stadium. Naruto wiped the blood from his lips before vanishing from view in a spark of lightning. Lilith looked around for the boy before a shadow appeared above her. Her cold black eyes widened as Naruto fell towards her. Lightning Dragon's Heavenward Halberd. He threw the halberd towards her, but Lilith jumped out of the way of the strike. However, the blast wave from the attack struck her, sending her into the wall and causing her to leave an imprint in it from the force of the impact. Her muscles twitched violently for a while as the electrical charge coursed through her body. Naruto then ran forth and clapped his hands together. Lightning Dragon's thunder clap. An arc of lightning, followed by the sound of thunder, flew from Naruto's hands. Lilith watched the attack like it bored her. "You cannot defeat me with power like this, Lightning Dragon Slayer," Lilith snarled at her opponent. She quickly cleaved the arc to shred with her bloody claws attack before racing towards Naruto. The blonde was met with a punch to the stomach, followed by an elbow to the chest. The girl spun on her heel and rammed another elbow strike to his chest before twisting again, so that she was now behind her enemy. She slammed her elbow backwards, hitting the boy's spine. She then grabbed Naruto and spun rapidly. Throwing the blonde skyward, she leaped after him, but Naruto recovered as he fell. He grabbed her fists that she aimed to hit him with before he slammed a foot to her stomach. She growled as the pain registered only for Naruto's fists to slam into her face. A couple of bruises formed on her face from the strikes, but she grabbed an arm that tried to strike before twisting and kicking Naruto in the ribs. Naruto remained strong and countered with a knee to the diaphragm. Lilith lashed out with her hands and scratched at Naruto, tearing 3 slash marks through the fabric while leaving shallow cuts on its chest. Naruto growled and did the same, leaving 3 slash marks on her breasts and her shirt. Lilith then smirked and Naruto was caught off guard, and Lilith slammed a blow to the chin, causing his jaws to meet with a clack. She then spun and bent her body at a 90-degree angle, allowing her legs to reach up and wrap around his neck. Needless to say, it was a rather good and bad situation for Naruto. Bad because he was now choking, and he was sure there was going to be something coming after this move. Good, because he got a nice view of the woman's panties and by extension, her ass. Naruto resisted the urge to have a nosebleed, which Lilith was more than happy to help him with, as she used her leg muscles to swing Naruto over her and send him to the ground. Naruto fell to the earth, Lilith following right after him. Naruto quickly turned and landed on his feet, bending his knees so that the shock wouldn't damage him. He looked up to see Lilith falling towards him, trails of black and blue magic trailing behind her as she prepared to attack him. Naruto smirked. "Gotcha," he thought as Lilith neared him. Apocalypse Dragon's destruction talons. Lightning Dragon's roar. Lilith's eyes widened as she raised her arms to protect her from the beam of lightning that overcame her attack. She screamed in pain as her body conducted over 1000 volts of electricity. By the time the attack ended, Lilith's body was smoking. Her clothes and skin were covered with burn marks. Her clothes, due to it being ruined, did what it could to cover her well-developed body, but it revealed enough for the men in the stands to get nosebleeds. Naruto wiped his nose before realizing that his opponent was descending towards the ground. He quickly performed a thunder step and got ready to catch her so that her unconscious body wouldn't hit the ground. However, Lilith wasn't unconscious. The black-haired girl roared as she launched a high-power beam of magic energy. The surprise attack caught Naruto and everyone else off guard. Apparently, Lilith is not unconscious and has gotten a surprise attack on Uzumaki. Just how strong is this mage of holy tale? The announcer shouted into his sound-enhancing lacrima. The smoke cleared to reveal Naruto was coated in lightning. But the attack had a good job of damaging Naruto, as he was now in a similar condition to Lilith. Naruto dropped the lightning shield that formed whenever he activated Lightning Dragon's scales. However, as he did so, Lilith appeared in his face, and boy was she a sight to behold. Her eyes were a shining white, her teeth and nails were sharper than before, becoming actual fangs and claws. She had blue and black magic energy leaking off of her, and giving the image that she was on fire. The Apocalypse Dragon Slayer snarled before roaring. Naruto was sent flying by the shockwave, and his ears were pounding as he was nearly deafened by the attack. Lilith rushed him and slashed at him. Naruto quickly activated his scales and blocked the attacks, though he felt the power behind the moves despite them being blocked. Such power, just what kind of dragon slayer is she? What is this Apocalypse Dragon Slayer? He thought. Lilith's wide eyes shone brighter than before as she formed a tail from the magic energy and lashed out with it, sending Naruto skidding backwards and into the walls of the stadium. She then appeared above him and crashed down blow after blow on the boy. Uzumaki is under pressure, her folks. Lilith Longhorn has suddenly gained a power boost and she is not letting up. The announcer cried out. Naruto looked up to see his lightning shield was bearing a few cracks. The cracks were getting larger, and his shield was getting weaker with each strike. He had to force her away and get some distance. Lightning Dragon's dynamo burst. Naruto roared. His lightning shield suddenly grew larger, and a powerful burst of lightning sent Lilith flying through the air. Naruto panted as he rose back to his feet and saw Lilith getting up. "Come on, it'll take you down." Naruto taunted her as readied his final attack. It was close range, but Naruto knew his opponent wouldn't resist the chance to strike him up close, given her current state. Lilith smirked. "As if you could, Lightning Dragon. I am the most powerful dragon slayer in all of existence. I will show you the power of the Apocalypse Dragon." Lilith's body erupted into a tower of magic as she rushed him. Naruto charged all his magic power within his body and ready to attack. Lightning Dragon Slayer's secret art. The skies suddenly began to turn dark and Naruto raised his hands to skies. Blue lightning bolts arced across the sky and began to focus at one point in the depth of the clouds. Naruto's body began to spark as lightning coursed through it. His eyes became a piercing golden yellow with a blue vertical slit for the pupil. He growled at Lilith as she neared him. However, just as he was about to yell the name of his attack, Hikaru and Shadow appeared in front of the Apocalypse Dragon Slayer. Lightning God's thunderstorm. Black lightning shot at Lilith and tore up the earth before electrocuting her. As Lilith growled at her companions, Shadow and Hikaru rushed her and held her down. "Got the sedative?" Shadow asked. Hikaru nodded as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small needle with a vial of purple liquid attached to it. "Shadow, keep her still," Hikaru said as he and Shadow increased the strength of their grips as Lilith tried to physically break free. Hikaru stuck the needle into the girl's neck, the liquid entering her system. Lilith roared and with a pulse of magic, forced her master and guildmate off of her. She stood back up panting and looking like she was going to cause a massacre before the sedative did its work. The white glow in her eyes died down, revealing her cold black eyes. Her eyes then rolled back up into her head before she collapsed to the ground. Naruto blinked as he calmed his magic and the storm clouds above vanished. The announcer didn't know what to say at that. Hikaru picked up Lilith as he and Shadow returned to their guild section of the stadium. "Sorry Dragon Slayer, we had to knock her out or she would have killed you," Hikaru said as he walked away. "We apologize for my guild member's assault, but it was necessary, though given the amount of magic power each of them unleashed, the match would have ended in a draw." "You sure about that?" Naruto asked. Hikaru turned to the blonde and nodded. "I'm absolutely sure. You and Lilith would have caused a large explosion, resulting in a backlash of lightning and magic energy. The result would have been both of you slamming into either end of the stadium, in which the lightning would have caused Lilith to become paralyzed by your lightning, while the force generated from Lilith's magic would have caused you to feel numb, and thus you would also be unable to move." Naruto blinked at Hikaru's explanation before the announcer raised his arm into the air to gain the audience's attention. "Due to the circumstances, it is decided that this match will be a draw between these two mages," the announcer said as Naruto walked towards his fellow guild members. "Naruto, that was awesome. Good job." Naruto smiled as he was given positive remarks all around before the council members told the audience that tonight they will be going through the tournament members and deciding which mage will be awarded the title of S-class, and they would announce it tomorrow. That night in the meeting room, the council and the masters were talking about who will become S-class. "Alright. Org, a member of the council spoke, before we decide who will gain the title of S-class, let's go through what we just saw today." Ijima, a former member of Fairy Tail and a member of the council, agreed with Org. "I agree, and I think we all know what we will be talking about, or rather who." Everyone in the room nodded. Master Bob of Blue Pegasus stood to his feet. The young girl, Lilith Longhorn, was revealed to be a dragon slayer. But not just any dragon slayer, Belino, the lone female member of the council said. She was the Apocalypse Dragon Slayer. "Though I find it highly unlikely that the dragon we are all thinking of would actually take the time to raise a child, let alone a dragon slayer. The thing despises humans beyond all recognition," Makarov added. They all turned to Hikaru, master of Holy Tail. "Hikaru, we would like for you to explain how you found Lilith Longhorn and how she came into contact with the Black Dragon." Hikaru looked at the other masters and the council members with a raised eyebrow. "My guild's secrets are their own, and it is stated in the laws that you yourself, the Magic Council, wrote in the legal guild section, that in paragraph 7, section F, subsection D, that the past of any mage that is part of a legal guild will not be held into account as long as the mage that is under suspicion has not done any crime or has not committed an offense against the council in any way, and that said mage's history and past actions will therefore be registered as invalid." The Magic Council members narrowed their eyes at that. Makarov spoke. "Hikaru does have a point, and it would unreasonable towards Holy Tail as well as making everyone in this here think that just because you are members of the council, that you can bypass your own laws." "Are you saying that you would not like to know if the girl in question could pose a threat to Fiori?" Belino exclaimed. "It is something we would all like to know, Org," Yajima said. "I mean, Makarov's boy." Naruto was about to be ruthlessly beaten. Had he not countered when he did, Makarov nodded at his former teammate. "Also," Master Bob spoke, "it would be unfair to Holy Tail and unfair to Lilith-chan if she was denied the access to become an S-class mage just because she was raised by the Black Dragon." Hikaru nodded. "Thank you, Yajima-sama, Master Bob, Master Makarov, for sticking up for Lilith." The three nodded in return. "Alright, well with that out of the way," Org said as he cleared his throat, "let's decide who will be our new class mages. I say we make Lilith Longhorn an S-class mage. Given the amount of power and skill she displayed in today's match, she was shown to have outmatched Naruto Uzumaki and everybody else, even taking down S-class mage, and Laxus Dreyer, a councilman by the name of Michello said as he tapped his cane. "Hell no." Yajima countered, "You're just saying that because you hate fairy tale. I'm not playing favorites just because I was a part of the guild, but I say make Naruto S-class to handle the apocalypse. Dragon Slayer of even ground showed the power he had." The masters and the council members all began to talk loudly as they gave points as to why either mage should be made S-class. Org rubbed his temples before slamming his fists on the table. Silence. The room instantly became quiet as the gray-haired man looked at them. Enough. Due to the fact that none of us can reach an impasse, and we all have positive points that could decide why Naruto and Lilith should become S-class, I say we make them both S-class mages. A blue-hair councilman, Seagrain, nodded in agreement. I concur with Org-san, it makes sense, and besides, they are both worthy of the title. The room all nodded in agreement. Seagrain then turned and looked out of the corner of his eyes as he saw Hikaru walk out of the room and caught sight of an attractive young woman waiting for him. The two then wandered off as everyone began to exit the room. But Hikaru, so Altair, how was seeing your mother? Hikaru said as he and the woman, now identified as Altair, entered the room that the Holy Tail Master was staying in. He quickly hopped to the side to dodge a punch. Shut up, Hikaru. Anyway, I have been meaning to ask you something. How did you become a master at your age? Altair asked as she felt herself pinned to the bed with Hikaru hovering over her. I could tell you, but you know what the payment is for what I'm going to tell you, Hikaru replied, kissing her neck. Altair smirked deviously. Fine, just tell me, Hikaru-kun. She spoke with a seductive tone. How did you become a master? Altair moaned as she kissed his lips, his hands roaming to other places. You see, Altair-chan, my lightning god slayer magic is my second magic. Due to the power of my primary magic, I was able to convince the council why I should become a master. After that, it was all said and done. And just what is your true magic? My true magic is, Hikaru whispered his true magic to her as her eyes widened. Next day, thank you all for coming. Org bellowed through the sound. Lacrima, many of you all have performed admirably in this tournament. You have all shown great amount of skill and power. However, after much consideration, we were only able to narrow our candidates down to only two. Two of you will become S-class. Belino stepped forth and gestured to Holy Tail. Your S-class mages are Lilith Longhorn of Holy Tail. The Apocalypse Dragon Slayer gave a smirk at that, and Naruto Uzumaki of Fairy Tail. The Fairy Tail members all dogpiled Naruto in happiness for his achievement. Now I have more reason to go and kick your ass. Natsu told his fellow Dragon Slayer. Naruto chuckled. Just try, Natsu, that's all you can do. The blonde laughed before he was pulled into a back-breaking hug by a Titan Makarov. Ah, my back. He was then pulled in even tighter, and he began to lose oxygen. Master, choking, not breathing. 2 weeks later, Naruto was sitting on the second floor watching a big fight that was taking place on the first floor. He flicked the small pink he wore on his chest that identified him as an S-class mage and smirked. God, I love this guild, Naruto said to himself. He saw Makarov coming towards him. Naruto, my boy, I've got a job for you. Sure, fire away. I need you to go find 2 people. One of them is apparently from the parallel world. Idolas. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that. He had only heard stories of the world that was parallel to theirs from Makarov. Buchapin learning the secret of Mystigan and meeting Perusica. He was proven that it did indeed exist. So who is the second person? The second is a dragon slayer you may know, Makarov said with a wink, handing the blonde a map that directed him to his location. Ah, so I get that person again. Alright, it'll do the mission. See you when I get back, Naruto said as he thunderstepped to the door. However, just as he was about to leave, he heard a voice that made him smile. Naruto, nice iron, said a girl's voice. Hey, he smiled as he turned around. Walking down the road into the woods, Naruto looked around to see if he could find the girl he was looking for. She should be here, Naruto said to himself as he kept walking. He stopped when he heard crying. He followed the sound to find out who it was. When he got to the crying, he saw a young girl with blue hair and wearing a pink dress. Wendy? Naruto said, running to her. And Naruto, Otu-san. Wendy said, running toward him, but was stopped by a wall of ice made by a white-headed woman. Wendy let out a sharp scream due to her surprise and fell back on her rear, scooting away from the wall. But she looked through to see the distorted image of her blonde father figure and the assailant that dared to prevent him from seeing his surrogate daughter. Who are you? Naruto growled. The hooded woman grinned as she threw off her hood, revealing her to be Altair Milkovich. My, such a fire in those eyes. Now then, let's dance, little lightning dragon. Why are you doing this? Naruto exclaimed. Altair didn't answer, but merely slammed her fist against her palm, frost flowing from the point of contact. No reason at all, call it a test for you. Altair smiled before slamming her hands on the ground. Ice make. Garden. Suddenly a numerous amount of ice sprung forth beneath Naruto's form, but with a flash of lightning, he had appeared in the sky and avoided the strike and stared in awe from above. The ice had fashioned itself into a perfect replica of a spring field full of flowers, grass and even an ice butterfly here and there. He was snapped out of his thoughts as he felt a chill and looked to see Altair had fired off a spear of ice towards him. He growled and charged his fist with lightning and shattered the spear before changing into a bolt of lightning. With a clap of thunder marking his movement, he reappeared in Altair's face and reared his leg back. Lightning Dragon's talons. He roared as he lashed out with his lightning-encased leg. Altier's eyes widened and she leaped back, but the lightning suddenly freed itself from Naruto's leg, and an arc of lightning crashed into her body, electrocuting her. Her smoking form shuddered momentarily before she stood back on her feet, spasming slightly. Ice make. Rose thorn. A large whip-like vine with roses attached to it sprung forth from the earth as her ice make magic took off towards her opponent. The rose thorn slammed on the ground where Naruto has stood as the blonde leaped to the side, but suddenly another thorny vine stretched from the side of the first thorn and slammed against Naruto's side, shedding a small amount of blood. Naruto gritted his teeth in pain as the second thorn then wrapped itself around his waist, digging its sharp icy thorn into his stomach and sides. It then raised him up and slammed him into the ground with tremendous force, forming a small crater. Naruto growled as he lay in the crater before shattering it as electrical charge coursed through his body. Lightning Dragon's Thunder Step. In a boom of thunder, Naruto raced across the battlefield, Altier's rose vines trying desperately to damage him, but to no avail. Ice make. Rose Petal Fuuma Shuriken. A Fuuma Shuriken that looked to be constructed of rose petals of ice formed in her hands, and she threw it at the blonde. Naruto simply took a deep breath and let loose a beam of lightning. Lightning Dragon's Roar. He exclaimed as the beam of lightning tore through the attack. Altier slammed her hands on the ground, and a large magic seal formed as her rose thorns formed an X in front of her to try and block the attack, if only for a moment. Ice make. Frenzy Plant. A large amount of large tree roots, lined with spikes along their lengths all sprouted out of the earth, made entirely of ice. The roots then slammed down on Naruto's attack, and with a grunt of effort from the daughter of they tore through the roar. Naruto snarled, his eyes seeming to glow with rage. Altier chuckled as the large tree root spiraled around her form before she pointed at him, as if obeying her will, which they did. The tree roots sped towards Naruto. Naruto thunder stepped every which way, but for some reason these large roots were able to keep pace with him. He ducked, flipped, jumped, twisted and rotated in every possible way that was humanly possible, and then some. He countered with his own blasts of lightning, and even shattered some of the giant ice appendages with his attacks, but the attack was like a hydra, for each one he took down, more took its place. In the end, 10 large roots hovered over his head, moving like serpents and coiling themselves, ready to strike. The first of the 10 roots of Altier's frenzy plant struck forth. He backflipped to dodge it, and then cartwheeled to avoid the second. The third and fourth tried to double team him by sweeping high and low, but he coated his body with lightning-like armor to block it, and only caused him to be sending flying through the air. However, as he managed to right himself and skid to a stop, he was caught off guard when a tree root had dug itself under the ground and stabbed its way into his stomach. Naruto grunted in pain, coughing up a large amount of blood. The force of the attack sent him flying off the root, due to it only impaling him at least 3 inches deep, due to his lightning armor, preventing it from completely impaling him through and through. He tumbled through the air only for a 6th root to slap him aside, but he remained airborne as the 7th crashed against his ribs, a crack meeting his ears. The 8th and 9th tree root then double slammed him, sending him spiraling downwards towards the ground, but before he met the ground, all 10 ice roots reared back and crashed down on Naruto's form. A large smoke cloud formed from the impact, and Altier chuckled. My little lightning dragon, I thought you would have lasted a lot longer for someone of your stature. The ice make user spoke. She continued to watch the smoke cloud as ice and small droplets of blood seemed to hover in the air before falling. Wendy watched from her end of the ice wall, having decided to peek around the side to observe the battle her father figure was fighting. Her brown eyes widened in fear as she saw the blonde taken down by the monstrous vines of ice. Naruto Otu-san. She screamed in fear and shock at seeing the blonde dragon slayer get taken down. Tears spilled from the girl's eyes, falling to her knees, staring at the smoke cloud. She then paused in her weeping when she heard the sound of what seemed to be something cracking. Wendy and Altier both watched in awe as a burst of gold and blue lightning shattered the ice roots. Not just the tips of the frenzy plant attack, but the lightning seemed to course through the vines, as if they had a will of their own, and the bolts tore apart the frenzy plant attack in a burst of electrical charge, leaving only the bases of the 10 roots, but they were slowly healing themselves. Altier and Wendy watched in awe as the smoke cloud parted to reveal Naruto standing in a crouched position. His knees were bent at a 90-degree angle, his left hand placed on his left hip, and his right hand, in the form of a fist, touched the ground. Electricity coated his form like a shroud, flickering into the form of a dragon, before returning to the shroud-like form. The air began to feel as if it were made of ozone, as the electrical charge passed along electrons to oxygen molecules to form the ozone atoms. Naruto's head then snapped up, fangs bared, and his eyes holding an animalistic quality to them. Lightning. Drive. Naruto's form was now completely golden and made entirely out of lightning. A pair of horns made out of lightning seemed to just out of his hair, and a series of black lightning bolt-shaped marking lined his arms, legs and stomach. On his shoulders, knees and in the center of his stomach were swirls made of these black bolt-shaped tattoos of some sort. Nani? Altair gaped as her frenzy plant vines seemed to react on their own and covered her. Naruto grinned. His golden-colored eyes shone like the form surrounding him before he took a single step forward. In a thunderclap, Naruto vanished from view and reappeared in front of Altair's spell and smashed his fist down on the attack. The large portion shattered from the force of the strike and Altair stared in awe at what he just managed to do. You broke it with raw physical strength. What are you? Altair asked. The blonde dragon slayer laughed as he leaped back to avoid the strikes from her sentient plant vines. In the dragon slayer, he took off in a burst of speed once more, but the frenzy plant reacted and lashed out at him. He raised his arm and blocked the strike from the first one, a second nailing him in the stomach. However, vines 3 and 4 slammed against the side of his face and hit him disoriented slightly, but he recovered and cartwheeled to avoid the strikes from vines 5 and 6. 7 and 8 twisted around each other in a double helix, aiming to impale their opponent, but Naruto took a deep breath and fired off a beam of lightning that tore through the 2 vines. He then jumped atop the 9th vine and used it as a ground to leap higher into the air before flipping with his descent. Lightning Dragon Shock Wave. He roared. A pulse of lightning rocketed from the point of contact he made with the ground and it washed over the area, kicking up stone and other pieces of the earth. The vines coiled around Altair and creaked and strained as Altair's magic was forced to keep them alive. When the pulse died down, the vines wavered in their movements and then Naruto struck. He ran forth and punched through one vine, then the second one. He twisted on his heel and slammed a roundhouse kick to the side of the 3rd vine before latching on to the 4th vine and to Altair's surprise, he wrenched it out of the ground and shattered it with his lightning-enhanced form. He then clapped his hands together and an arc of lightning sliced through the 5th vine. 3 of the remaining 5 vines raced towards Naruto, but the blonde dragon slayer dodged the attack they made at him with ease, moving as if they were moving in slow motion to him, which they were. With a raise of his foot, he called upon the powers of his lightning dragon parent and slammed his appendage into the earth. Lightning Dragon Skyquake. The land quaked as lightning rose up from the ground into the air and fell back to earth like rain. The bolts of yellow lightning struck the ground with such force, it appeared as if both the earth and sky were shaking. Altair tumbled along the ground, having lost her balance, and she watched in horror as her most powerful spell was destroyed. Despite their regeneration, the continuous attack had made sure to stop them from ever forming at a quick pace. If they ever did reform, Altair then gaped in shock as Naruto raised one hand into the air and pointed at her. The final lightning bolt from his skyquake fell towards her, and she felt the burning pain of lightning coursing through her body. Her hair stood on end, her flesh smelled like cooked meat somewhat, and her mouth was agape from the scream that tore through her throat. Altair's eyes rolled into the back of her head before falling to the ground, unconscious and not able to fight anymore. That was too much, to think I was forced to use lightning drive, he said as he cancelled the powers that put him at the halfway mark between his regular form and dragon force. He then turned around and smiled as he saw Wendy run towards him with tears in her eyes. He chuckled as she suddenly latched onto him and hugged him like his life depended on it, or her life depended it. Don't worry, Wendy-chan, I'm fine, he muttered as he stroked her back soothingly. I'm fine, let's get back to Fairy Tail, yeah. Naruto said as he and Wendy started to walk away. Back at Fairy Tail. I'm home everyone, Naruto yelled as he walked into the guild with Wendy hiding behind him. A chorus of cheers from the other members was heard at seeing their resident lightning dragon return before they returned to their own devices. Welcome home, Naruto Nai, said a small white-haired girl. It's good to be home, Lisana. Where's the master? Naruto asked. Naruto, fight me. Naruto continued to look around for the elderly man as he kicked an incoming Natsu with a brutal roundhouse, knocking him into Gray who was in his boxers. At the bar, Naruto Nai, but may I ask who this is? Lisana asked looking at a scared Wendy. Oh, this is Wendy, I helped raise her when I was with my mom. You see, Wendy's dragon and my mom were really good friends, so I ended up babysitting Wendy from when she was 1 year old, so that's why she sees me as a dad. Could you take care of her while I see the master, Lisana? Naruto replied. Sure thing, Naruto Nai. Also look out for Mirani and Erza, they've been acting weird all day, Lisana said as she took Wendy's hand and walked off somewhere. Will do, Lisana. At the same time with Altair. How long are you planning to stay like that, Altair? Asked a man in a dress suit. Oh, was that all you got to say to me? Hikaru-kun, Altair said getting up, wincing slightly as she nursed her bandaged wounds. So what you think about the little lighting dragon? Hikaru asked, sitting on a rock as he packed away the bandages he brought for his wounded companion. He is strong, but I had a feeling he was holding back, Altair said, sitting next to her master. He got his true magic sealed away, Hikaru said looking at the gray sky. Oh? And what type of magic is that then, master? Asked Altair, wanting to know more about the boy who had got her master's eye. Well, if my true magic makes me a god, then his magic makes him a demon, Hikaru replied as he walked away. Remember, keep an eye on Hades for me, he is an old fool, but we need him as a tool for our plan, Altair. Get him? Yelled an angry man. You blew up my house. Yelled an angry woman. You turned my chicken into KFC. yelled one more angry man. I'm sorry, I did not mean it, I was just doing my job, the master's going to be mad at me for this, Naruto said with tears running down his face as he ran away from the angry people. When he finally got away, he had not been watching where he was going, having continuously sped through the town, out of the streets, past the entrance of the town and into the forest where he continued to run and began to scale a mountain. Panting, Naruto wiped his forehead to rid it of the sweat he had worked up. Alright, I'd think this would be far enough from those people, man, civilians are scary when they're angry, he muttered as he looked around. The young blonde dragon slayer's ears twitched, closing his eyes, he focused on the noises he heard. Birds tweeted, rabbits crunched grass beneath their feet. Deer lapped up water from the nearby river. However, all these calming sounds were shattered as trees falling met his hearing organs, rocks sounded as if they were shattered, and then he heard a yelp of fear. Finally, he heard an almighty roar that would have deafened him. That does not sound good, Naruto said to himself, running toward the sound, pushing aside brush and leaping over rocks. Naruto ran along the mountain's incline towards the location he had been heading towards. When he got there, his eyes widened with shock as he saw a giant beast with its arm going toward what looked like a scared Lysana and a crying Mira. Lysania? Mirahin cried out to her sister as time seemed to slow down. The beast swung its arm towards Lysana, and the blue-eyed S-class mage could only watch in horror as her little sister was about to be sliced apart. However, she was snapped out of it when a loud boom, similar to that of a thunderclap, met her ears. Lightning drive. In a flash of lightning, Naruto appeared behind Lysana a split second before the beast could hit her before moving out of the way. Rock and debris flew everywhere as Naruto's golden form appeared next to Mirahin, who could only stare in awe at the blonde before her. Lysana, are you okay? Naruto asked the scared girl. And Naruto Nai? I'm alive, but what about Elf Nai-chan? Is he still that monster? Lysana asked as Naruto put her by Mira. Monster? Wait, that thing is Elfman, Naruto thought, his golden yellow eyes staring in shock at the roaring behemoth. Mira was about to get up to go and fight the beast, but she winced as she looked down at her leg and saw she had twisted her ankle. Plus with her bruises and cuts, it showed just how unfit she was for battle right now. Damn it, I can't even help my own brother. Mira punched the ground in rage. It's going be okay you two, I'm going to knock some sense into that brother of yours, Naruto said powering up lightning drive. The golden form flickered around him before more magic power was released from his body. Suddenly, his primary form changed as the lightning drive seemed to evolve. His chest area became black and 3 lightning bolts marks were on each side of his cheeks. Replacing his whisker marks, a coat with black on the inside showed up with yellow on the outside. The cloak appeared to be ripped and had numerous scale-like patterns on it. Naruto's golden eyes shone with power as he stood up and glared at Elfman's bestial form. Lightning drive. Second form. He muttered as he watched Elfman. The beast of a mage roared as it charged towards Naruto. With a defiant glare, Naruto watched his changed friend. Come on you beast. Naruto yelled. The beast roared and reared back its fist as Naruto took a few slow steps so as to prevent Mira and Lysana from getting caught in the crossfire. Elfman roared as brought his fist down and Naruto simply stared at it. He took one step and in a boom of thunder and a flash of gold, Naruto was suddenly right in the monster's face. With a roar of fury, Naruto punched Elfman in the face, sending him rocketing backwards and through a large boulder and several trees. As he landed back on the ground, Lysana and Mirahin looked up at the sky. Affected by the strength of his new form, the atmosphere began to change. The clouds turned dark, rain poured from the black clouds that shielded the heavens, lightning arced across the sky, and thunder echoed through the air. He made it rain. No way. Lysana exclaimed. The roar of Elfman was heard as his out-of-control beast soul burst through the brush as the storm above continued to rage. Naruto watched Elfman as the beast charged once more. Now I see why the master gave him that nickname, Mira said as a bolt of lightning hit the ground near Naruto. What nickname? Lysana asked. The power to summon the strength of the heavens, to manipulate the storm. He rules over it like a monarch over his kingdom. Naruto Uzumaki, Fairy Tail's Storm King. As she said that, Naruto raced towards Elfman and rapidly rained down blows upon the great beast. He punched Elfman across the jaw with a savage right hook before twisting and slamming an elbow into the side of his face. Using amazing strength, Naruto suddenly gained a grip on Elfman's head and allowed his body to drop, allowing the momentum alongside gravity to increase the strength of his downward pull. Naruto then gave a cry of effort as he hurled Elfman over his shoulders and slammed him on his back and into the ground. Such power, the two Strauss sisters muttered. Naruto then leaped into the air and slammed a powerful heel drop against Elfman's stomach and the beast roared in pain, but recovered and it swatted Naruto away like a fly. The golden cloaked Uzumaki was then sent flying by the bone-crushing punch dealt by his opponent. He was then rolling on the ground and a boulder slammed into him afterwards as Elfman had lifted the piece of earth and chucked it at him. Another boulder followed, but Naruto quickly used the enhanced strength and reflexes of his lightning drive mode 2 to heave the boulder that he was previously attacked with and shattered it against the second boulder. Afterwards, a thunderclap followed as Naruto raced towards his adversary Elfman's bestial form raged as it slammed its fists on the ground, leaving craters here and there before swiping at Naruto. Naruto watched as time seemed to slow down as the claws neared his face. But suddenly there was a flash of gold, and Naruto avoided the strike and landed atop Elfman's arm. He ran up the furred appendage and slammed a strong knee against Elfman's nose before twisting and sending a roundhouse kick to the side of his head. Elfman rolled on the ground but managed to right himself and dug his claws into the earth to prevent himself from skidding backwards any further. However, Naruto was not finished as the durable beast suddenly found Naruto's foot in his gut. A bit of blood and spittle exited his jaws, and Elfman gripped the wounded area. Naruto then leaped as soon as he touched the ground and slammed a strong uppercut to Elfman's chin, sending the monstrous man upwards. Naruto then performed a backflip, striking the same area with the toe of his boots, sending Elfman higher into the air. But the thunderclap, Naruto seemed to leap atop the air and plowed his fist into Elfman's chest before twisting at a high velocity, and numerous kicks met Elfman's form. Naruto then spun and got behind Elfman's back and kicked him through the air, but suddenly, a phantasmal image of two clawed hands extended from Naruto's cloak. Naruto slammed his right fist against his left palm, the phantasmal appendages doing the same, and with a roar of pain, Elfman was crushed in the lightning-made fist and palm. But the roar, Elfman fell to the ground, covered in burns and bleeding heavily. Elfman growled as he rose back to his feet, albeit slowly. "So you still wish fight, beast? I will satisfy you then, for I have a friend inside you, and your soul will not be the one in control of that man's body. I will finish you off now." The Beast King's soul that currently held Elfman's body in custody roared in retaliation, as if daring Naruto to try and stop it. The beast planted its limbs against the ground, causing the earth to cave in before it took off once more, but he didn't even manage to complete his first step as Naruto leaped into the sky. Lightning flashed behind his visage before he fell down towards Elfman's form. The bolt of lightning encased Naruto as it struck him, and the boy fell from the sky towards Elfman, a blank look on his face. There was a series of flashes as soon as Naruto struck Elfman's form. To the naked eye, it would look like Elfman was merely struck by a bolt of golden lightning. But if one had the ability to keep track of his movements, they would see that Naruto had struck Elfman with a numerous amount of physical blows, each one leaving behind a shockwave and a thunderclap due to the force of each strike. The flash of gold appeared in front of the beast once more before Naruto seemed to materialize out of nowhere in a kneeling position. Secret Lightning Dragon Slayer art. Golden Dragon's flash bullet, he stated before rising up to his feet. He turned to see the beast, covered in wounds before it gave a low growl, and fell to its knees and then onto its stomach, unconscious and beaten. Go to YouTube and look at Naruto-tailed beast flash bullet to see how the golden dragon's flash bullet would look. Shutting down his lightning drive, Naruto fell to his knees. "Damn it, I was in lightning drive too long," Naruto said, panting with exertion. Unlike the original form of lightning drive, the second form presented a bit of hazard to Naruto's body due to the large amounts of electricity coursing through his body. The amount of energy being produced by his nervous system causes his neurons to being supercharged, which is what originally allows for his increased strength, speed, reaction time and agility. As a result of this, his brain is also moving on hyperdrive, sending signals to his body to move when Naruto needs to move at a much faster rate. This puts a strain on his muscular system though, as his muscles must be pushed past their original limits, and those limits are pretty high, in order for his actions to be carried out. Hence, by the time Naruto finishes using lightning drive, second form, he would be under extreme levels of fatigue and muscle weakness. "Naruto Nai, are you okay?" Lisana asked, helping him up, while Murahin picked up Elfman who had reverted to his original form. "I will be fine, Lisana," Naruto wheezed, though he stumbled slightly when he tried to let go of Lisana. The youngest Strauss sibling caught him before he could fall. However, "How are you and your sister doing?" Naruto asked. Lisana had Naruto wrap his arm around her shoulder and help support him. "We're fine, come on, let's go home," Lisana said as they all walked towards the town. Meanwhile at a cave. "So he beat the beast, huh?" Hikaru asked as he sat upon pile of dark mega that he just knocked out, all of which were smoking by what seemed to be superheating via electrocution. "Hi, master, but he had to use lightning drive mode too," said a hologram of Altair while looking at her master. "He has gotten stronger, but he is nowhere near the level of power that we need him to be able to make our plan work," Hikaru said, putting out his pipe and stood up. He started to walk towards the exit of the cave. "Where are you going, master?" Altair asked. "I'm going to that world. There is someone there who I could use there," Hikaru said when a black mist started to cover him. "Oh, and Altair, be in my room when I get back, okay dear?" Hikaru said before he was gone in a poof of darkness. 5 days later at Fairy Tail. It had been 5 days since Naruto and Team Strauss came back to Fairy Tail. News of what happened hit them hard. Natsu had not stopped thanking Naruto for saving Lisana. Mira had started acting nice to everyone. That creeped the guild out. Elfman had been moping around until Naruto knocked some sense into telling him he needed to man up. Naruto sat at the bar with the master as everyone else started fighting. "Master, can I ask you something?" Naruto asked, looking at his drink. "Sure my boy, what is it?" Makarov asked as he took a sip of his beer. I would like to take a 10-year job, Naruto said as Makarov choked on his drink. What are you saying, Naruto? You do know what it means to take a 10-year job, Makarov said, cleaning up his beer. Hi master, it's just I want to look for mom, but I can't do that and be at the guild at the same time, so by taking a 10-year job, I can look and help the guild, Naruto told Makarov as he started to walk out the guild. Naruto, my boy, you can take the job, but make sure you write home, everyone will miss you, Makarov said as he watched the second strongest guy in Fairy Tail walk away. Makarov stared at the blondes retreating back before sighing. Taking another sip of beer, he downed the mug before resting it down on the table. You can come out now, Erza, I know you're there, Makarov said, looking toward the end of the bar where Erza was hiding. The next morning, walking towards the gate of Magnolia Town, Naruto had a backpack on his person, ready to take part in the 10-year job. As he saw the gate getting closer, he saw someone with red hair approach him. What you doing here, Erza? Naruto asked the girl. Why? Why do you have to go now when I'm just about to take the S-class exam? Erza said, trying to hide the pain she was feeling. Erza, I will not be gone for long, ISW, Naruto tried to say before Erza cut in. But you might die. I saw how bad you were when you saved Lisana. You always try to play the hero, and you always get hurt, you baka, Erza said, hitting him in the chest. Erza? Naruto said, pulling her into a hug. I want give you something, he said, pulling a necklace off his neck. It had a golden yellow gem hanging from it that seemed to glow as the light reflected off of it. But that's your necklace, Erza said as Naruto put it on her. It's my gift to you, put some magic into it, and it will let me know where you are, so if you take a job that's near me I can meet you, he said with a smile on his face as he walked past her. See you, Erza, he raised his arm in a makeshift goodbye wave. See you, my hero, Erza whispered. She clutched the gem tightly, and a lone tear streaked down her face from her non-prosthetic eye. The sky seemed to reflect her pain, and it began to rain. In a dark room on a bed were two young girls, one with red hair and one with blonde hair. The blonde-haired girl was shown to have her face decorated with 3 scars on her cheek. A dark mist started to come into the room. The red-haired stirred. She lazily rubbed her eyes as she awoke, but her form snapped awake as she began to hear noises. She slowly turned, getting up to see what it was. But when she looked at the door, she saw a man dressed in a suit with red and black hair. Who are you? What you doing here? The girl asked. I'm here to see if you'd like have everlasting magic, girl, Hikaru said, letting out black lightning. Why you're Dragon Slayer, she said as she pulled out a large staff with a blade at the end of it. However, before she could even react, she was pinned to the wall by Hikaru's hand. Her naked body hung on the wall in the moonlight. Do not lump me in with them, I am much stronger than them, I am a god slayer. Now how would you and that girlfriend of yours like to have true power? Hikaru asked, looking at her body, seeing no point in resisting, her position reflecting how easily she could be beaten. The redhead dropped her head in defeat. She then raised it back up with a curious look in her brown eyes. What's the catch then, huh? The red-haired girl asked. Nothing, but joining me and making sure when a lightning dragon called Naruto comes here, you push him to his limits, Hikaru said, putting his hand on her upper body. We will have magic like everyone in Earthland. The girl asked. Yes, absolutely, so, what you say, girl? Do we have an accord? Hikaru asked with a devious smirk as he put magic into his hand. Yes, we will help. Excellent, now may I be graced with the name of my new charge? He said. Hikaru received a nod as he placed his free hand, the one charged with magic, on her right upper body. My name is Erza Nightwalker, the redhead, now known as Erza Nightwalker, said. A holy tail mark showed up on her right upper body as Hikaru peeled his hand away from her. He then let the young woman go as she slumped to the ground. Well then, see you later, Erza, Hikaru said, walking into the black mist back to Earthland. On top of a tall tower lay a large muscular man with black hair that was covered by a green turban-like cloth, wore black pants and black sandals. His lower jaw was covered by a metal jaw of some kind. However, though one might expect a man of his physique to be quite healthy, it was instead the complete opposite. Burns and blood covered his body, and a streak leading from his left eye showed he had managed to shed a single tear before he breathed his last. Natsu knelt next to the man, and Erza was trying so very hard to hold back her tears. I can't even save one friend. She punched the crystal blue floor, a result of the Tower of Heaven, absorbing the magical cannon blast of the Magic Council's powerful super weapon, Etherean. I'm sorry, Simon, forgive me, Erza said as a lone tear fell onto the necklace that hung around her neck. Ha. See what happens when you do not do as you are told. Erza, now be a dear and go inside the tower, a male voice across from the fairy tale group said with an evil smile. The man had messy blue hair that spiked in a few random directions and had dark-colored eyes. A red tattoo of some sort stretched vertically across his right eye. He wore a pair of black pants and boots, a gold and white shirt and a dark-colored cloak with a hood that was held back so as to reveal his face to his former friend and slave. This was Joel Fernandez, recreator of the Tower of Heaven and a mad psychotic freak as of right now. His insane laughing stopped when a raindrop fell on his head, then the rain started to come down harder. Natsu looked up at the sky when a thunderclap and a flash of lightning formed in front of him. Natsu began to grin and then laughed like something good happened. "What you laughing at, you foolish boy?" Jello asked Natsu. "Look up if you want to know then," was Natsu's reply. The blue-haired man looked up and his eyes widened as a series of lightning bolts flashed across the sky, arcing through the clouds. Suddenly, his eyes widened as he saw a single bolt of lightning fall from the dark clouds above, flickering into the form of a giant dragon, seeing as how lightning bolt moves in a jiffy. An actual unit meaning 1/100th of a second a.k. at the speed of lightning. It was no wonder Jello was unable to dodge. "Lightning dragon's rising fist," yelled a male's voice. The attack knocked the man into the air, spiraling as he did so before crashing into one of the many crystalline structures of the solidified Etherian tower. Looking up, Erza could see someone she longed to see. Standing before the fairy tale mages was a male who looked to be about 20 years old, had lengthy, spiky blonde hair that reached the end of his neck with 2 long sideburns going to his chin. He was wearing a black t-shirt with a lightning blot on the front. He was also wearing a pair of blue jeans. But what really got her was the yellow fairy tale mark on his right arm. "And Naruto," Erza said, not able to hold her tears back. The blonde dragon slayer glanced back at the red-haired woman and smirked. He turned and raised a hand. "Yo," he greeted her casually. "Long time no see, Erza. You've grown taller it seems, but, well talk when I'm done beating the shit out of this guy." He glanced back at the down Jello, now rising to his feet. "This will be over in a flash," Naruto said as lightning danced around him. "DRRRR, so you're the famed Storm King of Fairy Tale?" Naruto Uzumaki. "And if I am?" Naruto retorted as he shifted into a fighting stance. "Oh, well that is a great day for me because then I won't need Erza. A mage of your caliber will no doubt suffice as a sacrifice to revive Zera from the grave. Now prepare to be sacrificed." Jello's body glowed with a golden aura, meteor. He took off at high speeds towards Naruto. Lightning Dragon's thunder step. Naruto took a single step forward and vanished from his spot, leaving behind a single spark of lightning and the sound of a thunderclap. Naruto reared back his fist as Jello did the same. Both men crashed their fists against one another and an epic shockwave resulted, scattering bits of aqua-colored crystal and causing the ground beneath them to crack slightly. The two then leaped apart, but Jello quickly fired a volley of light bullets from his fingertips, as if it were a gun of some sort. Naruto watched them, standing still as a statue. "Naruto, look out." Natsu cried out. Erza could only watch in silent horror as the man who returned was about to be struck. However, their eyes widened when they saw Naruto just dodge the light bullets, mere shifts of his neck and head, and the bullets were all avoided, striking behind him. His bangs shadowed his face as he looked down, but his blue eyes crackled with rage and power as he gave Jello a blank look. "Too slow," he spoke. He then took off at a high speed, and Jello couldn't keep up at all. A punch crashed into his stomach and a small glob of blood forced itself out of his mouth. A second punch followed afterwards. Naruto then crashed an uppercut to the chin and sent Jello skyward before jumping and following with another uppercut. His leg swung upwards and slammed into the blue-haired enemy's stomach and the other leg followed soon after. Naruto then reared back both arms, clasping his hands together before bringing them down in a brutal hammer blow that slammed into Jello's head and sent the evil man to the ground. A mighty crash was heard as he sped to the floor and created a small crater. Jello growled as he climbed out of the crater before activating his meteor once more. He sped towards Naruto and sent a flurry of blows at him, all of which were easily dodged or deflected. Jello then tried his luck at speeding around the blonde dragon slayer and attacking from different sides. Naruto sighed as he dodged a numerous amount of high-speed punches, as if they were child's play to do so. "It's gotten so strong," Erza thought. Natsu chuckled as he watched the blonde do his work. "They are stronger than ever, huh Naruto?" The Rosette spoke his mind. Naruto then dodged a straightforward punch to the face, a show that Jello was getting desperate to land a blow on the blonde. Naruto then grabbed Jello's face before slamming him down into the ground of the Tower of Heaven. "Now listen here pal, I don't know you, but you're obviously someone who is an enemy to my Nakama, so here's the thing." He raised Jello's head and slammed it back down. Never, another slam, the cracks in the ground growing larger and wider. Ever, the third impact caused Jello to see spots. Ever, darkness was creeping in from the corners of his eyes as he neared unconsciousness. The man was forced deeper into the crystalline floor and crimson flew forth, showing that the man was now bleeding from his damaged head. Erza, his whole head was nearly submerged from the force at which he met the ground, blood leaking slowly from the large wound in his cracked skull. Cry. Naruto slammed Jello once more into the earth before pulling him out forcefully. Naruto spun around and used the momentum to throw Jello through the air and through several crystal protrusions from the floor. Naruto then vanished in a thunderclap and appeared behind his soaring foe before taking a deep breath. A large yellow magic seal sprung up in front of his open jaws and a lightning sparked outwards as it was being accumulated in his lungs. His lungs changed into that of a dragon's, allowing him to breathe lightning, and he finally let loose the attack. Lightning Dragon's roar. The beam of yellow electricity tore through the ground before finally slamming into Jello with terrific force. The blue-haired man couldn't even feel the pain after the first few seconds of being struck, as the electricity pretty much ruined his nervous system and made him numb. The beam of lightning continued forth before slamming harshly into the wall on the other side of the tower and continued through it without even losing momentum before it died down. The large trench was carved from Naruto's attack. Jello lay bleeding and covered with electrical burns, smoke coming from the more serious wounds. Naruto then sped forth and reared back his leg. And the kick is up. He swung his leg forward with all his might, and Jello's damaged body flew through the air, through several crystal protrusions, and out of the Tower of Heaven as he smashed through the crystal-like lacrima walls. Naruto raised his arms high and grinned. And it's good. He then turned to Erza and gave her thumbs up. Like I said, over in a flash, Naruto said with a toothy grin. Walking over to Erza, Naruto held out his hand. Can you get up, Erza? Naruto asked Erza. She smirked as she clasped her hand firmly in his outstretched one, and with a powerful pull, Erza was forced to her feet and instantly went with the momentum. Yes, you really came back, Naruto, Erza said as she wrapped the blonde mage in a hug. Hide me, Naruto, yelled Natsu as he ran at Naruto. Naruto glared at Natsu. Damn it, Natsu, you ruined the moment. The blonde dragon slayer grabbed his fellow dragon slayer's arm and swung him into the wall. It was then that Naruto noticed the light that reflected off the walls, but more specifically off an area on Natsu's right ring finger. The blonde narrowed his eyes, the sapphire orb staring as if they were scanning him, then his eyes widened. No. He let go of Erza and walked up to the rosette and freed him from the crater in the wall, before looking at the boy's right hand. Impossible. Naruto exclaimed as he looked at the shining silver ring on the son of Igneal's finger. He then spun around to face Erza, his blue eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Natsus married. Erza gave a girlish giggle at that and nodded in confirmation. Naruto glanced back and forth between Erza, the ring and Natsu, Natsu, ring, Erza, Natsu, ring, Erza, Natsu, ring, Erza, ring, Natsu. Naruto's eyes narrowed. It's not you, is it? Erza released a loud laugh at that, which confirmed that it obviously wouldn't have been her. Erza was very high maintenance. Just like about every other female in the world, Natsu would get his ass handed to him on a silver platter if he had joined together with Erza Scarlet, Titania of Fairy Tail, in holy matrimony. Naruto released a small sigh of relief before chuckling and looking at the fire dragon slayer. Well, little Natsu got married. So Natsu Dragneal, who is the unlucky or lucky, depending on your perspective, girl who shags you all night long? Naruto asked with a teasing grin. Natsu was now red as a tomato, as the thought of sex with his wife plagued his mind. Natsu hasn't gone that far with her yet, but the person is our dear little Asana Strauss, replied Erza. The air suddenly seemed to gain a cold chill, and Erza blinked owlishly as she saw Naruto's hair shadow his bangs. But an evil glint shone through it all. Naruto's hair sparked upwards as he was coated in a golden aura of lightning energy, and sparks of blue lightning danced around him. So you're saying my dear little sister got married to this moron? Asked Naruto darkly as he tightened the grip on Natsu's arm. Natsu gulped audibly and began to sweat and release other forms of bodily fluid in fear of the lightning dragon slayer's rage-induced power. Naruto then quickly calmed down as the magic power vanished to its usual levels and Naruto released Natsu's arm. You're a good guy, Natsu, y'all treat her right, I know you will. Naruto grinned widely. Natsu grinned right back, only to suddenly receive a blinding pain to the side of his head, sending him into the arms of Erza as she caught him. But that's for marrying her without my damn consent, you little shit. Erza shook her head and gave out a small laugh of amusement. Naruto was Naruto after all. Naruto walked up to Erza and used his thunder step to place them all outside at the edge of the Tower of Heaven's island. He then spotted the mainland, and in an epic boom of thunder and a flash of lightning, Naruto was carrying both Erza and Natsu back to the mainland, moving at the speed of a lightning bolt, tended to help as well as they reached there in under 5 seconds. He then placed both of his fellow fairy tale mages back on the ground, the both of them immediately falling on their asses as the vertigo got to them. Erza, you and Natsu stay here. I am going to do what I did to the last damn tower, Naruto growled as he returned the Tower of Heaven in an echo of thunder and a flash of lightning. Okay, let's see if I can still do this, he muttered to himself as red mist started to come out his body. He jumped into the air as a spell seal appeared. On top the spell seal was a one-tailed dog raccoon, to its right was a two-tailed cat, to the right of the cat was a three-tailed turtle, following to turtle, there was a four-tailed ape, after the ape there was a five-tailed horse. After that horse was a six-tailed slug, next to the slug was a one-tailed horned beetle with 6 wings attached to its tail. Succeeding the horned beetle was an 8-tailed ox with octopus tentacles for tails, and next to that, to the left of the dog raccoon, was a 9-tailed fox, and in the center of spell seal was what looked like a 10-tailed monster, as raw magic was being sucked into the seal making a small ball. Tailed beast devastation, yelled Naruto as the ball of raw magic dropped from the spell seal and hit the island slowly, The island was consumed by a bright light. When the light had died down there was nothing left but an abyss where the island used to stand. "Oh yeah, I still got it," he said to himself. He then began to fall. "Damn it, looks like I still need to work on it though. I'm nearly out of magic," he coughed out, panting heavily in exertion. In a final flash of lightning, Naruto returned to the mainland and fell to his knees. As soon as he reappeared, he coughed so heavily it seemed as if he was about to lose his lungs. He was then about to fall on his face when he felt something soft and warm. "Haha, thanks, Erza," Naruto said looking at her. "You saved me again, my hero. Now come on, let's go home," Erza said with a smile. Naruto nodded as he was then allowed support from the pink-haired dragon slayer as well. "So Erza, what cup size are you, D or something? Those things are huge," Naruto said pointing at her chest. Erza's face turned bright red in embarrassment, while Natsu merely burst out laughing. Later that night, "I will be back soon, Master Hades," Altair said as she walked towards a man sitting on a rock, looking at the beaten body of Jell, which had fallen from the sky for some reason. "Master Hikaru, are you okay?" she asked, worried when Hikaru moved his hand over Jell's body, and a small part of an orb flew out of his mouth. Hikaru then nodded as he held the orb in his hand, examining it before smirking. "Finally, I have the first piece of the orb," Hikaru said looking at the orb in his hand. "Master, that orb, is it the one we need?" Altair asked. "Yes, it is a part of it. Thanks to Naruto we have the first part," Hikaru replied as he stood up and kissed Altair deeply. "It is now time for celebration, Altair my dear, so I suggest we celebrate by paying a visit to our favorite troublesome guild. Let's put them to a test. Tests are like games, and I like games. Games are also parts of celebrations," Hikaru chuckled darkly. "I think it is time for me to pay Fairy Tail's master's grandson a visit." "Come on Altair," Hikaru said as he began walking away with the daughter of Thanks for watching.